I felt for Roy this morning, even though Roy is affiliated with the only good thing that we have in South Florida sports at the moment. I guess I should say Inter Miami is also excellent. But among the major sports that we cover here, the top four, Roy has the hockey team, and he was out at Panthers practice, and Brad Marchand spoke glowingly of both the Bruins and the Panthers yesterday. But right under his nose, he missed the Ekblad suspension of 20 games, and he didn't do any good reporting. He gave us atmosphere from an empty arena, but soon after he left the arena, we learned that Ekblad was suspended for 20 games. And your reaction, Roy, was what to both this news and being beaten on this news?
Well, first of all, it was about 6 hours after we left this news.
Well, you could have broken it early.
You could have hung around.
You were there.
I could have hung around for 6 extra hours.
I don't think anyone actually broke this story. It was announced by the league and the NHLPA.
Yeah. I understand.
What's the cover-up then? Is
but
I think what Dan's asking.
Roy was there. It's not really the cover-up. It's more just missing the news, just being there to gather news and then missing the news.
Well, yes. Okay. I missed the news. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out.
There were no rumblings?
No rumblings.
Did you
no
see Aaron
whispers.
walking out with like a cardboard box full of his, personal effects?
I don't think he was fired, Billy.
Well, no. For 2 weeks, though, he can't be there.
That is correct. No, I did not see a cardboard box with any of his belongings in it. No.
You also missed on reporting the Mikko Rantanen trade to Dallas, so apologize.
Me? I gotta apologize.
You're missing scoops left and right.
We do that well here at Meadowlark Media. I will have you know that yesterday, Taylor, and I'm in agreement with that listener at Flanagan's who said Les Taylor on the show.
It was one guy.
Taylor reported yesterday, because he's our North Carolina expert, and no one has more Mack Hollins information nationally than Taylor does. He reported yesterday on X, Mack Hollins to the Patriots, and he had a typo in the tweet, and when he took it down to edit it, someone else reported it.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
That's the news game.
That's
the news game. No, but that's how we do it around here. Some people might ask, how do you get beat when you're standing on the ice and Aaron Ekblad is packing up his stuff, but you got beat on that story.
How bad was the typo? I didn't see it. Like, what did he need to take it down? Did you get the context of the tweet with the typo? Like, he should have just left it up, right?
The thing is, he's the nation's foremost expert on Mack Hollins, so any time that Taylor tweets something out, it's got to be right, because obviously he's the number one guy for Mack Hollins News. When you send out the tweet and it says DTH instead of THE, it's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I have to take down tweets and redo them. It's tough not to make an error. Mack Hollins, I think number 57 on the Greg Cody Show all-time list of all-time guests. So's Ekblad, number 85. All my guys are moving. They're being traded. They're being busted for dope. I mean, all kind of things are happening.
Okay, well, what is I saw Bobby Portis got 25 games. When you get these bigger suspensions, we're always assuming. And in Ekblad's case, I guess we now understand how his play improved, right? I mean, you guys hated him for a while, and then for the last 9 months or so, you guys have been fine with him.
Something happened.
Well, the funny thing is, the last person who got busted for PEDs and suspended for 20 games was Nate Schmidt when he was at Vegas. He's a Panther now.
I wish that Ekblad or any athlete suspended for PEDs would just instantly own up to it instead of implying, inadvertently, I took a medicine, I didn't know this. Ekblad, he's 29 years old. Okay, he hears the career clock ticking a little bit. No longer the best defenseman on his team. And he wanted to get a little bit of an edge. It's human nature. It's illegal, but it's human nature.
Kind of crept back into the discussion of being the best defenseman on his team.
More than Forsling?
He had a really good season, really great bounce back. When he was out for a brief period of time this season, the Panthers' form had dipped. He came back. They were off to the races. I mean, I hate to say this, but this is like one of those baseball suspensions where a guy has a crazy year and you're like, that makes sense. When I saw the Ekblad news, I'm like, man, that kind of makes sense. He's bounced all the way back this year.
I do wonder, when they made the deal a couple of weeks ago for Seth Jones, did they have an inkling that this might be coming.
Well, this is why Roy should have broken it 6 hours early, because I doubt that all of this news came down in those 6 hours after he left the ice. Mike, when you say off to the races, I know that the expression, what it means, but why are people off to the races? Like, what is it that makes people go off to the races? And Tony, I saw you checking your phone. Do you have any breaking news for
I've
us
got an
there?
update on the Taylor situation. He said he had 2 typos. Posted, deleted, posted again, deleted again. Mike Garofalo posted, then I posted.
That's just on him.
So he said,
You need to look in the mirror. Speaking of mirrors.
Problem was, I went for a 2-year deal to try to add the money involved, and that's how I got the mix-up on the typos.
19th century horse racing.
I was going to say, Diablo took off. That's where I know the thing comes. All of a sudden, it's like, we're off to the races. This guy's gone.
Can't you just edit a tweet in the first hour? Like, what's he doing there?
If you're subscribed to premium.
I can.
Let me
Elon for that.
Let me ask you guys the question about Ekblad and just suspensions in general, because I want to play this sound from an unreliable messenger. It's old sound, but it didn't get any traction, none. And Chael Sonnen, because he's a professional troll, but he's also been someone who has broken news. Chael Sonnen said this of LeBron James, flatly.
If the world understood what LeBron did, like other basketball players will hear what LeBron does and go, well, yeah, but that doesn't matter, right? It's like a baseball player. You're hitting a stick out of the way. It doesn't matter. It's like, no. If you knew what these performance enhancers did, then you would know why it does matter.
What do you think he's
There's
doing?
only one. We have the same drug guy, if you will. I know exactly what he's doing. But there's only one golfer.
Please tell.
There's only one golfer. I'm not going to. But there's only one golfer that follows the big 3. The big 3 is EPO, growth hormone, testosterone. That's the Lance Armstrong diet. There's one golfer, but it's Tiger Woods. Like, yes, it does matter. People will say it all the time, it doesn't matter. John Daly won it. It's like, it matters. Trust me that it matters. EPO matters. It's the reason LeBron takes it. It matters. And if other basketballers understood
EPO
what it
do?
did, EPO increases your red blood cells, which gives you endurance so you can play all game long. You can shoot in the fourth
More
quarter
red blood
just like
cells,
you
more
shot in the
oxygen
fourth
in your
minute.
red blood cells. Okay, got you.
It's the king of performance enhancers.
So you would prefer that, especially in a fight sport, to anything else?
EPO is king.
Because it's going to give you the stamina.
Yes.
That's why cyclists do it.
That's why cyclists
Tour de France is
So that 5th round energy is
the
more
human
important.
body is not made to do the Tour de France. I mean, the people that set that up are inhumane. So of course you have to go. Of course it's supernatural people that they're forcing them to take.
What sound is that? What was he doing?
Chael Sonnen, for those of you who do not know, produced for 5 rounds one of the most stunning things I've seen while on performance enhancers. Is he totally dominated the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world in Anderson Silva at the time, and then lost at the end because he slipped up, but had him dominated. My question to you is, when Chael Sonnen says something like that, if right now the news came down that the oldest player in the NBA, who's still doing things that are completely unprecedented for his age, if the news came down that he was using HGH, would anyone be surprised by that?
The small domino is Aaron Ekblad testing positive and getting a 20-game suspension. That leads to a Chael Sonnen clip that's old. And the big domino is, let's just use this to invoke LeBron's name.
Well,
I don't like this one bit.
I was going to do it yesterday with Mo Vaughn's HGH admission, but instead I decided to do it today because
Just let's peel back the curtain. We know what we're doing here.
I want to ask the question because I'm amazed at what's happened in sports when it comes to this stuff. We were all naive with McGuire and Sosa. McGuire and Sosa had it in their lockers, and it was a totally common thing, and we were naive at the time. And I'm asking legitimately, who would surprise you now, and what would be your reaction to specifically the one guy doing things that have never been done before? Because I would be not only unsurprised, I also wouldn't blame him. And furthermore, if I were him, I would dare the league to punish me. I would dare the league to find out and try to do that to me so that they eradicate my records.
It feels like, if we want to get conspiratorial, the league has been turning a blind eye to people at that level taking things for a very long time. Like, what, we're just surprised that LeBron is at 40 years old, now creeping back into the MVP race at 40 because he's had an incredible season all of a sudden?
Yeah, but what does that mean, though? I mean, retroactively, are we now suspicious about Tom Brady's longevity and success.
Kind of.
I don't throw any shade on LeBron James based on something an ex-UFC fighter says. I think he's built up too much credibility to assume that just because he's still great at 40,
okay, but
I'm
asking a career newspaper man to just for a moment take a look at results that have no precedent and have some questions about it, as opposed to simply accepting at face value something in sports that can no longer be accepted at face value.
So he's the only one doing it, though?
I'm not saying that.
But that means if a lot of people are also doing it, he's still the best.
That in turn levels the playing field. If the greatest ever at their sport, Tom Brady, arguably LeBron James, are doing these things and getting away with it, you got to assume everybody is. The same thing like the 90s in baseball, and that doesn't mitigate his greatness. It may explain some things that are hard to explain, which is why are we seeing this guy do it at 40? It was a question that we asked about Tom Brady, and we just assumed everybody else would, and it turns out, no one else could. Tom Brady was the greatest ever.
Peyton Manning was also, there was a lot of cloudiness, a lot of things around the Al Jazeera report of Peyton Manning getting stuff for his neck. Maybe he was taking things before that.
His wife.
Sorry, sorry.
You got to get that right.
Sorry, I don't know. Allegedly.
Typo.
To answer your question, would I be surprised if all of a sudden it came out that LeBron James has used HGH? No. Just as I was not surprised late afternoon yesterday when my wife said, hey, did you hear about Aaron Ekblad? It isn't a shock when any professional athlete, to me, tries to get better or tries to get healthier sooner by using medicinal means. It's against the rules. Maybe it shouldn't be against the rules. I don't know, but it doesn't surprise me. The only thing that I don't like is to assume that Chael Sonnen is right and to assume that LeBron James is not quite the angel that we've known for 2 decades.
I want to stop you for a second, though, because I do think it's possible for something to be completely unsurprising and still shocking. If that news came down right now, you're not going to tell me that you'd be like, like you'd have a reaction to it, and it wouldn't be like you would feel lied to in some way. I don't know how emotional you would be or how much we've changed this over the last 20 years, but you would not be indifferent about that news. We would be engulfed by that news if that were so.
I'll entertain your gambit. I think for me the shock would be, man, they actually did it. They caught him, and they decided to put out a press release and announce this to the face of the game. Like I would be shocked at that. I'd be more shocked at that than learning that a top athlete is doing whatever he can to stay at the top.
You know what's funny about you saying that is that I would indeed be shocked if the league actually did that, but I would also be shocked if the league consciously and actively covered it up. If you showed me some sort of chain that revealed to me how it is that got covered up by a league protecting its interests and declining to protect its integrity, if you showed me all of that and showed me knowledge of it, I would find that to be shocking as well. Like, I understand that we're sitting here saying these things in the hypothetical, but now put it on Adam Silver's desk and have him make the decision that overtly protects something that is against the rules. That seems kind of crazy, even if we're now used to corruption in all facets of the space where we're watching
there's a
things.
Paper trail on this
Dan.
getting to Adam Silver's desk, and the person that takes it in is still alive.
It is. Let me just say, it is extra reckless to be. I know Chael says he shares the doctor, but he's half the time he's in character. Like he's not. It's not the best source.
Okay, but I remember the first time that I noticed Feel Good being swept up by conspiracy theories and cynicism. It's when Cal Ripken Jr. hit a home run in the All-Star game, and it was such a perfect moment that immediately, was it Hideo Nomo? Somebody assumed that the pitch had, many people assumed that the pitch had...
Chanho Park. Grooved it.
Ooh. Ooh, Dan. Ooh.
That is amazing.
Let me tell you something.
It got grooved, Dan. More importantly, the pitch got grooved.
I think that
You
should
did
be
this to
more
yourself.
than a $5 fine.
You did this to
I think
yourself.
that should be a
I
bigger
tried to
fine
stop
than
you.
that.
Tried to stop you with Chael.
Not great. Not great, no.
I hope Chris is right, by the way.
Yeah.
It's
Fact check that one, man.
No, it's even worse than that. It is even worse than that. You said Chan-Ho Park, and I had in my head that Chan-Ho Park, for some reason, was a first baseman. That was Hee-Sop Choi. So it's even
making it better,
it's even worse. It's even worse.
They were both Dodgers.
Thank you. Yes, not a good defense, and I will
Actually, all three of them were.
He's up a little chubby, too.
Again, though, I will say to you guys that was the first time that I'm like, can we not have good things that we believe in sports, that we're going to immediately arrive 25 years ago or more than that in a place where we're going to take Cal Ripken Jr.'s, as if it's not hard to hit a home run in an all-star game, and we're going to immediately apply cynicism to it.
So you didn't like how that made you feel, and then 20 years later, we're lifting up Chael Sonnen. Like, it's cool watching this phase of LeBron's career, and those questions and whispers, social media conjecture and innuendo, that's been around LeBron forever. For literally like at least 15 years of his career, people have been wondering, what's that little break that he's taking in the middle of the season? This is stuff that people
going
say
where?
all the time.
Again, though, I simply say to you, as we're watching all of these things that have no human precedent on where the limits of the human body have been. This is not a player. Go look at Michael Jordan's number and his percentages, his numbers when he was 37 years old.
No doubt. And I get it. And I feel like we have this conversation every time an aging quarterback hits the market. We're watching two guys do it. And they just so happen to be the best ever. Like, that's why they're doing it, maybe. I understand, like, we're trying to rationalize what we're seeing. With Brady, it flatly doesn't make sense because look at his body. Like, with LeBron, we're doing like, wow, he's chiseled out of granite. I get it. With Brady, pliability and avocado tequila?
Yeah. Strawberries. The thing that I'm doing, though, with you guys, I understand, okay, that the playground is this utopian space for us where we do dreamy childhood things. But everywhere else in America, facts are being questioned everywhere. Things that have conspiracy theories are growing power everywhere. But not here.
No, yes, here.
No, not here, because this isn't a conversation that's actually happening anywhere. I want to preface all of this, even though I'm already deep in the weeds on it. I want to preface all of it by saying that I lost my Baseball Hall of Fame vote because I am not judgmental about these people using science and advantages to try and beat all the other people who are using science and the advantages, that all of us would love to have a fountain of youth. And I get everything. I'm not judging it. I'm wondering that the reaction seems to be around this to just simply accept, yes, something I've never seen before. I believe that to be pure, and we're not doing that with anything else, any other subject matter in America.
But is it fair to, like, maybe not reserve that for the GOATs? Messi's playing great in older age, too, and he actually had to be on human growth hormone when he was younger because of how he was born. Like, I think we're conflating all-time greatness. When I list those three names, they might be on the Mount Rushmore of all-time greats in athleticism for a conversation that might be reserved for journeymen trying to hang on, because those are the guys that get pinched most of the time for this kind of stuff.
But isn't the thing to do it as the number one guy, knowing that you're the face of the league, knowing that Adam Silver would have to crater the entire league to make sure that you don't get put on one of these lists? Dan, LeBron James is more protected than the President of the United States. I want you to know that, okay?
I don't think that's
that can't
right.
be true.
I think so.
I don't think that's accurate.
I don't think so.
He's more protected. He's more protected from PR, from all these different angles than the President of the United States.
Although the last president was accused of PEDs.
He had to.
The idea,
come on, man.
The idea that anybody would be using human growth hormone to feel better is something that I would understand and say, yes, if your body is in pain, go ahead and do whatever it is that you have to do. The only arguments I've ever heard against human growth hormone are if you have some sort of undetected tumor in your body, it will speed up its growth if you do human growth hormone. In fact, I will tell you, because South Florida because South Florida has been something of a pioneer in this regard, where A-Rod and Manny Ramirez and a whole bunch of lawlessness took place in a way that was sloppy. I will tell you that about 10 years ago, a urologist suggested, I remember I went with my brother, and I was ready to do something that actually was inserted in your body that released human growth hormone monthly when it was supposed to. And the last thing the doctor told me as I was leaving is what I said, which is if you have an undetected tumor, because I'm like, well, what are the side effects? Like, how is this something that you're telling me I could just come in here and feel much better? I'm going to hurt less. I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to be happier about life. And it's got no side effects. That side effect is not generally a concern for young people. That's not an absolute, but that's not something that if you're in your athletic prime necessarily undetected tumors. But I was in my 40s when it is that I was looking into doing this, and I did a lot of research on it, and I totally understand why any athlete would protect the $50 million a year late in their career that wouldn't be available to them because these careers used to always end at 37 years old. Like there's no such thing as what Taurasi did, what Ovechkin is doing, what Tom Brady did. And yes, you're talking about all-time greats keeping their level from falling more precipitously, which is generally how it drops at 37. I'm simply more interested in why it is that we choose this particular naivete when you're presented with something that by 3 years has no precedent. Because even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, what he was doing late in his 30s was all just skyhooks, and you can see all of the ways that he's aged numerically. You can't see it in LeBron's numbers. It's not anywhere to be found except on his defense.
You know, you mention Ovechkin, and it does get the brain to wander a little bit because he did drop off for a little bit, but also, this is the first offseason I can ever remember where he was like photographed working out and running and playing pickleball to kind of stay in shape. And he doesn't have this great body, and he's aged like he's partied.
Well, you mention offseason and practice and working out. Let's check in with Tua and how it is that he is looking these days, because the internet has no issues on the fat shaming, and now we're doing to Tua what it is we did to Patrick Mahomes last offseason, where a little dad belly all of a sudden.
Una pancita, eso no.
Okay.
I'm sure he's super excited that his friend put this out.
This is the big domino.
He looks great.
Fat shaming Tua is now the big domino.
I was not doing
You're
it.
just asking us if we'd like to.
The internet is definitely doing it, and I don't agree with it.
The internet is doing it. I'm not here. I am not here for fat shaming others. I have been something of a pioneer in terms of allowing fat shaming of me.
Your picture is Mark Mangino, I think, still, right?
That's true.
So
I see a guy that's enjoying his offseason.
I see
nothing wrong with this.
Number one, no glass on the boat. Yeah. Party foul. Pour that into a glass, and also it'll help you with bloating. Have you never seen Bar Rescue?
Can you guys get for me, please, the sound of Brad Marchand talking yesterday, both about the Panthers and the Bruins? I'd like to get to it in a second, but before I do that, I want to make a shameful admission here that was very different than the rest of you on what was your visceral reaction to the headline yesterday. When I saw the headline, Dolphins sign Wilson at quarterback, legitimately, I'm like, who the hell's Wilson? I had totally forgotten about the entirety of Zach Wilson. Like, I'd forgotten where he was, what he was doing, that he was bad with the Jets, that he was still available, that anybody would want him. Like, when I saw Wilson in the headline, it took me 5 seconds to be like, who the hell's Wilson?
You didn't think it was Russell, maybe?
I did.
Limited.
I hoped it was Russell. Now, that would have been a good signing.
No.
Yes.
I'll take Zach Wilson over Russell Wilson.
Oh, Zach.
What a bad take. What are you doing?
More upside. We know what Russell Wilson is. Zach Wilson is just like a guy.
Super Bowl winner?
Hold on a second. What? I mean, I think somehow the Jets still, though, when they're paying Fields $20 million a year, still lost yesterday, right? Yeah. Like, that's crazy.
I mean, Zach Wilson is getting 6 times what Russell Wilson got last year. So you guys can laugh at me all you want.
He's not really, though. Like, he got paid by the Steelers $1 million, but he's getting paid by like 30 by like the Broncos.
That's true, but dude, what is Russell Wilson doing this offseason? Where's he ending up? I just think there's unknown with Zach Wilson. We kind of know what Russell Wilson is at this point.
Well, the Dolphins needed a proven veteran backup quarterback behind Tua. Zach Wilson ain't that guy. He's a draft bust.
That's true. He's not proven. I'm not arguing he's proven.
He's played 3 seasons and he's got more interceptions.
It's a top 5.
than touchdowns.
It's a top 5 quarterback skill set. Those measurables are still the same.
Greg, if I can, by the way, we thought the same thing about Sam Darnold, and now he just signed a $100 million contract, right? It's where you get plugged in, who you get plugged in with. All of a sudden, Zach Wilson starts looking really good in a system with Mike McDaniel.
No.
And then 2 years from now, somebody signs him to a $65, $70 million deal.
Zach Wilson's a top 5 quarterback in the XFL. Maybe.
Dude, I love that you just act like you know that he couldn't be good in another system.
No,
it's
your
not that
nickname
I
the
know.
Duke?
It's that the Jets knew and that the Broncos knew. And now the Dolphins will find out.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to flatter a dubious free agent signing, that's the thing to say. Well, what about other quarterbacks who we wrote off 3 years into their career and they bloomed and they turned out great? Yeah, if you want to believe that, go ahead.
Well, the Dolphins believe it.
Of course they do. Oh, they also got him cheap.
They're paying him like they believe it. It's $6 million. It couldn't be $10 million. They're paying like they believe that they can make him that.
They're paying like they realize they need a backup plan in case Tua gets concussed again, which is what Zach Wilson is. And he's a better option than Skylar Thompson, right? He's a worse option than Russell Wilson. If the two of them, like if I had Russell Wilson and Zach Wilson, I would take Russell Wilson.
And they also signed Zach Wilson to a 1-year contract, which isn't believing that this is a guy who might actually be your quarterback if Tua peters out with his health.
It's them signing a backup. And, Chris, to your point, like, we know what Russell Wilson is. Yeah, I know that Russell Wilson is better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Right.
I think there's more upside with Zach. Look, I want Tua to stay healthy. I don't want Zach Wilson to play. I'm just looking at the landscape of all these backup quarterbacks, and it's better than Skylar Thompson.
But, I mean,
he's got the top 5 talent. I think, you can say all you want about he can't be anything. I guarantee you, Mike McDaniel sees Zach Wilson as like, in my system, this guy I can work with this.
I just generally dismiss because he's got high upside is something that people say about bust first round picks all the time. It's something that people maintain till Brock Osweiler left the league. Occasionally, you'll catch the Sam Darnold and you'll catch the Baker Mayfield and maybe it'll work out, but most of the time it's a sad story and it's Brock Osweiler.
I'm also kind of souring on Mike McDaniel. Like, Mike McDaniel thinks he can fix them. Mike McDaniel's such a genius. How about you fix the problems that you have with the people you have and stop getting these pet projects just in case? Like, Mike McDaniel, if we're being honest, is kind of on the hot seat.
All right, let's talk for a second about both Sam Darnold and getting tired of coaches and what it is that they have to say, because how tiring are these Spoelstra press conferences now when you see them lose to Charlotte and Chicago at home, and he's saying all the things about grinding and face your demons and we're going to get out of this, when the numbers, 8 of their last 9 losses, they've blown a fourth quarter lead. They've got 15 blown double-digit leads this season. Only Utah has more. They have real problems late in games because their offense is terrible late in games. And I mentioned to you guys how bad Utah is late in games. That game I saw, where they had the ball with 20 in a tie game with 26 seconds left. They're bringing it up court, and they get a half-court violation because they don't get it up in time because they're just terrible. The idea that they're with Utah in blown leads, and is Portland now better than they are? Does Portland now have a better record than the Miami Heat, because the Miami Heat are supposed to be going through the soft part of their home schedule and are losing games, and the Spoelstra talk, this roster is bad compared to what we're used to. It's not lose to Chicago and Charlotte at home bad. It's not that bad.
Heat are 1 game up on the win column from the Portland Trailblazers.
Have they reached the point where you don't want to lead? You just don't want to build a lead.
Come back, you just always want to come back.
No double-digit leads. That's the rule.
It's a tough time for Spo to have his worst coaching season ever, because it times out with maybe Pat Riley's worst season as an executive ever. So vibes are bad.
I'll tell you where it started. The game against the Pistons, Dan. You said that he would wake up 10 years from now in a cold sweat thinking about that timeout call, and all of a sudden, that's the little domino. And what's the big domino going to be?
I think the little domino was telling Jimmy Butler to shut up.
40 years from now, not 10 years from now, 40 years from now, the Golden State Warriors are 12-1 now with Jimmy Butler. They have lost one basketball
Steph's been playing
game.
really good, though. Let's be honest.
For the record, Jimmy Butler wanted to go to Phoenix.
And they suck.
That was the only team he wanted to go to.
Let's play some of this Brad Marchand sound to get a bit of a palate cleanser. Let's get some sorbet in with this meal.
This is sorbet?
This is just 2 minutes of him talking about how good the Panthers are.
It's extremely exciting to be part of such an incredible group. And when I walked into the room the other day, I literally had flashbacks to back in the year that we won and some of the groups that we've had over the year that I looked at as an incredible chemistry and incredible culture. And when you walk in here and you see the way the guys interact and the relationships that they have, not just within the room as players, but with their staff and their coaches and management, it shows why they've been, the pillar in the league the last few years. So I'm extremely excited to be part of the group and really looking forward to getting back on the ice and becoming part of the group here. They've bounced us the last couple of years in playoffs, so they've bounced the Bruins the last couple of years. And it has been pretty remarkable to see the growth they've had as a group the last few years. I think throughout the year here this year, we've played the team multiple times, and I remember just thinking like that's the team to beat this year. I thought the way that they came at you in waves all game long, just the depth that they had in their group, they have the experience. They know what it takes when they get in those tough situations, and that's invaluable. They didn't lose many guys, and the guys that they did replace them with are great players. I looked at the group and I was like, that's the team that has the ability to go all the way again. And when you match the drive with the experience and the depth of the group, it's a very dangerous combination. When things were kind of coming up and kind of writing was on the wall, this is absolutely the place I wanted to go.
I love that.
Guys, so update me really quick. Obviously, I was locked in on the Panthers this past run. Yeah. But so this guy is a guy from the Bruins, correct? That everybody hated. Mike called him a rat bastard, I think.
I didn't call him a rat bastard, but I would.
You would. Okay, you would. So now he's a Florida Panther, and now he's talking about how much he loves the Florida Panthers, even though back like 2 weeks ago he hated the Panthers and everybody on the USA team because of the Canadian USA thing.
The part that you're not understanding is that when rat bastard becomes cat bastard, all of a sudden Roy and Chris and Mike are doing what Chris was doing, which is, Greg, how embarrassed are you that your son spent that entire time rubbing his nipples with his hands until they chafe?
Yeah, I noticed that. Journalist Chris Gotti, he's a fan. He's a season ticket holder. I mean, I expect that from Christopher. But as someone who's not a season ticket holder and doesn't cheerlead for the team, I love the signing. I mean, they got him for next to nothing, potentially a second-round pick. And, for the stretch run, to have him as your second line or whatever, I think it's a wonderful deal. Bill Zito continues to amaze with some of the things he's doing. He had a great team, wasn't satisfied, made it even better. Paul Maurice is one of the all-time great coaches. I mean, they're just state-of-the-art right now in the NHL and have been for the past 3 seasons.
Tony, what you're missing is also this is what we call a sleight of hand. You know what I mean? Like, look over here. We got this guy, big breaking news. Is this going to work out? He hates the Panthers. They hate him. Now he's a Panther. He's an Ice Cat.
Now he loves them.
Let's make sure to fly him down here so we can do this press conference. And then later in the day, you're going to find out that one of our players is taking steroids and has been suspended 20 games. But don't look at that. Look over here.
Classic
Look at
shell
the big
game.
signing. And now we're going to fly him right back to Boston for the next game where he was a minute ago. That's what they're doing here. Sleight of hand. Turns out, Chris, cheaters do prosper. Lord Stanley.
He is cheating.
Ekblad played very well. I won't remind anyone that the 2003 Marlins won a World Series with a ball that Pudge was able to hold on to at the plate because he was 40 pounds heavier than he was the next offseason.
Thank you for
Miami
not doing
cooking,
that.
yeah.
Glad you didn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not there with this guy. I don't like it one bit. We invited toxic vibes, and look, immediately the universe says Ekblad suspended 20 games. This is what you invited in when you bring Brad Marchand in a locker room. That was fine without him. Also, why do we have to do him this favor? Why?
Because he's injured.
Let him toil away in Boston. Let him be someone else's problem. He's trying to come over here and hitch his wagon to an absolute force in the sport that is, by all indications, handicapped to be the favorite in their conference. I don't like this for Brad Marchand. I don't want him to experience happiness.
Would you like to see him cry? Would you like to see him cry?
I'm telling you, I want to see the Florida Panthers win. If Brad Marchand lifts a cup and does that, fine. I won't clap or anything like that. But I'm unhappy that he gets to have that joy.
Okay, but would you like to see him cry? Would you like to actually watch a former Boston Bruin
I've seen him cry plenty. I've seen him cry plenty.
Mike,
that guy's a loser.
You didn't get joy. Mike, that clip right there where I was rubbing my nipples is him just for 2 minutes being like, I have looked at this team in awe for but that's
kicked your ass 2 years running.
What else is he gonna say? But we win there. That's our victory.
I get it. It's the only silver lining is ripping him away from Boston and putting him specifically on this team. I've seen so many reaction videos of Bruins fans.
Now I can chirp Sarah Sivian.
They're torn up about it, and I guess that's a silver lining. But for me, I'm good, healthy scratch.
What happens if he plays tonight? Right? It's tonight.
He's not playing. He's injured.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay, well never mind then.
Why are we acting all surprised that a player traded to a team would speak glowingly of that new team? This is what traded players do. I mean, he's.
But he doesn't have to give he wanted to be only here. And that he had a good relationship with the Bruins, so they made it happen for him.
Right. Well, if you're going to be traded, you want to go to the defending Stanley Cup champion that might win again. No duh. I mean, no brainer on that one. Brad Marchand. He made a good career decision.
Do you guys realize that it is fundamentally impossible to surprise the old savvy veteran here with anything we discuss or any thought that you have? He is completely unsurprised by all things that happen.
Hold on a second. Well, everyone's jumping down my throat about him being injured. When Roy was at the Panthers camp yesterday not reporting on the steroid suspension, he reported that Brad Marchand was going to be on this road trip traveling and he might be good and suit up for the game.
No, I said he might take some ice recovery.
Morning skate type stuff.
Yeah. He's injured. I said he was injured yesterday.
Get out there, tough guy. Jeez.
Again, though, Mike Ryan, would you like to see Brad Marchand cry? Just say yes.
Of happiness or sadness?
So I could just play the video. Just say yes so I could play the video.
I never called him a rat bastard.
Yes,
Stop putting those words in my mouth. However, if I did say that, I stand by it.
Let's hear Brad Marchand get emotional.
You know, I've had an incredible run in that organization, and I'm extremely proud. Just how things went there. Sorry. So yeah, it was very disappointing that things didn't get done, just because obviously I love the organization. I wanted to stay there, but at the end of the day, I also know that business is business, and every player has a shelf life.
Crocodile tears.
I think I actually enjoyed that.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Can you guys let me know who it is and what it is that's going to be happening on Sunday around here during Selection Sunday, where we're going to be doing a live stream? Who's going to be in with us? Are we going for the show in America that knows the very least about college basketball, doing a live show off of Selection Sunday because it's a fun day to just have a silly party? What are we doing?
That's
on
actually
Sunday?
what we're titling it, what you just said, that wordy sentence.
It should be, yes. The America's least informed Selection Sunday show. Yes, I mean, because between us, I think all of us can name Cooper Flag, and then everyone else is just laundry that you're betting on. That everyone else is Maryland -5. So I don't know who the guests are, but you guys are planning something. Are we going to then unveil what our tournament is going to be on Sunday? Because I just saw, Billy, the ad for our tournament, and you've heard my declining trust in our audience to be clever competitively based on what it is that they've done on that Boost Mobile Stugotz line.
I'm with you. I've been seeing some of the video submissions so far. They are dreadful.
Okay.
Audience, step it the heck up.
All right, so
LeBatardAF.com if you want to go and submit, and you can win a big prize. Look, lawyers be damned, because here's the thing. We've been walking around this situation. There's so much red tape around here. They should call this place 3M Edelark. You know what I mean? With all the tape that we have to work through around these parts. So lawyers be damned. Here's the prize, people. This is a prize that people used to pay tens of thousands of dollars for, okay? You're going to be able to come.
All right.
Nice. Hold on a
Jeez,
second.
tens of thousands of dollars.
People, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me
You're the
finish.
one that paused, brother.
Hold on a second. Let me finish
Just the one
here.
that paused.
All right. We need you to come in here. Phrasing. Hold on a second.
All right.
We need you to get a 30-second video. Submit that video. Tell us why you should be watching this championship game with Dan, right? And then the winner is going to have the opportunity to watch the championship game with Dan, with Dan Le Batard, and some others who are yet to be confirmed and signed up for all that. And then, if I understand properly from the multiple meetings we've had, and if I haven't, I'm sure this is going to be edited out, or we're doing it now. And
it's live right now, Billy.
That's
There's
fine.
no editing out. What
No,
we're
it's fine.
doing.
We can do that.
We can,
We can always fix it.
But
Yeah, we can always fix it.
And then,
post it.
and then the winner, selected by fellow fans, the winner then, at a date to be determined, is going to have a nice in-person meet and greet situation. So I don't think we've expressed this properly because there hasn't been the proper enthusiasm around this contest. But again, people used to pay tens of thousands of dollars for this opportunity. So if you go to LeBatardAF.com, you can submit your video. You can tell everybody here why it is that you are the one that should be here, or you could just make a really annoying video that then the fans will decide, you know what? I really want to annoy this group of people, and I want to send the worst person possible. I want to send the William Hung of the fans to go, the Sanjaya, if you will, of fans, to go and hang out with them because they can't get out of it. They're going to have to sit there, and they're going to have to endure this. And we, the fans, are in complete control. So, fans, this is your chance at revenge. Every time you sit there and you say, you know what? I don't want to hear about this damn Pat McAfee anymore. Well, guess what? Why don't you win and then talk to us about bobby pins or yarn or whatever it is that you want to talk about. Submit your video, get the fans to vote for you, a little engagement, go back and forth with the guys and the girls and everybody here, and that's it. LeBatardAF.com. Submit your video, less than 30 seconds. If it's over 30 seconds, probably won't watch it. Once we get 64, honestly, the way things go around here, we're probably going to cap it off. We're not going to look at 65 through, 68 or however many people submit. So you should just submit it now as quickly as you can. We need this energy from you guys.
Some hints, little tips. Don't tell us how long you've been listening. We don't care.
Well, no, that's not true.
I'm just saying it's not a good way to get
I would say
you don't care.
Listen. Save all of those interesting things like how long you've been listening, who's your favorite, all of that for when you win, and we can talk to you in person and can't get away from you.
Zagaki.
Are we all Delaware fans today? Are we all Blue Hens today? Is Greg Cody wearing that blue shirt, at least in part because he is a hen?
Yes, I am. Love Delaware.
Henning it.
Love my hens.
Now, if you don't know about this story, they are the 12th seed out of the CAA conference, and they, I think, lost 9 out of 10 games to end the season. They're 16-19, just a bad team. But they've gone on a run here, and tonight they will play for their conference championship for a chance to punch their ticket into the dance.
The Magic Hens.
We are all Delaware Blue Hen fans tonight.
Damn right we are. Let's go. How come the rest of you aren't wearing blue like me? Well, Le Batard is. Well done. By the way, does the winner of that contest get to not only watch the game with you, but sit on your lap?
Well, no.
No?
Yeah, there's lawyers. You can.
Like Santa?
Okay.
3M.
Yeah, that would be great.
People have paid, I think the largest amount of money that has been paid to do any of these silly things with us is $35,000. So yesterday's price is not today's price.
I think that was in 2022, and those people never came. So that was just like a nice charitable act by them. So, hey, thanks to you guys for the $35K charity, Dickie V or Jimmy V.
All right.
All the V's out there
Excellent
supporting.
work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Billy, excellent work. You really did great work with everything there, just totally buttoned up the way that I expect from you. Also, a contest that is run by you, trying to actively annoy me.
Oh, no, it's not run by me.
Signing me up for...
It's now become run by me, but that was not the intention.
Okay,
I was just the idea man.
Okay, excellent.
Now I'm the closer.
Okay.
Bradledge, they call me. Just hopefully we're not pitching that Albert Pujols is, you know what I mean?
I'll closer.
Bob save. Let's play some video here that I want to show people about. I don't know who is presently playing for the Marlins. I know that Jesus Luzardo is now in Philadelphia, and I want you just to know before I play this video that the entire time that this is happening, they've got Phillies manager Rob Thompson mic'd for sound, and he's watching Jesus Luzardo pitch. Jesus Luzardo's first pitch is a 2-1 pitch with the bases loaded. He throws 3 consecutive consecutive pitches, and all 3 of those pitches go out of the park, as Thompson is just totally silent during the entirety of this conversation he's supposed to be having.
One of those in-game interviews. You're always like, oh, nothing ever happens during these. Well, something happened during this one.
All right, watch this.
Turn the switch up a little bit every day, and so that we're 100% going into the season, but at the same time, staying healthy.
All right, 2-1 on the way to Jones. Swing and a drive. Deep drive. Sosa goes back. It is way out of here. That's a grand slam for Jahmai Jones.
430 feet, 112 off the bat. So the double was 114. Bat. This one 112. Competition. Jones right now looking good against the lefties.
He sure did. Andy Ibanez sends Sosa back. He's out of room. Back-to-back shots. Andy Ibanez not as far, not as hard off the bat, but equally impressive. And it is all of a sudden a 5-0 game as Luzardo is giving up back-to-back home. Topper, you're a great guy for A, hanging with us here, but B, in this sort of context of what goes on in the spring training game. Torres the first one. He sends it to left field. Sosa is not going to get it. Back to back to back.
3 pitches.
My goodness.
Thompson winced on the last one the way you would if someone scared you. If you walked into a room and someone actually caught you entirely off guard.
You remember that video of Alec Baldwin in court when they're cross-examining a witness that had a bunch of good things to say about Alec, and at some point, then why'd you call him a bleep sucker? And he just picks his head up like real quick. It's the only reaction he had. That was Rob Thompson's look after the 3rd home run.
Have you guys watched any of the Baldwin documentary that's in the middle of his life? Not documentary, reality show. As all of this happens, he's got 6 or 7 kids he's chasing around. I've always found him interesting, arrogant beyond all reason. But do you guys have any interest? I judge from the look on your faces, none of you want to read or hear anything or watch anything involving Alec Baldwin's real life.
No, I saw like an unfortunate video of like a Trump impersonator ambushing him outside of his apartment to ask him about killing somebody. And it didn't seem like a fun life.
I don't like the idea of reality TV being so real that they're all of a sudden in a therapy room when Alec Baldwin is going through counseling. I think that's too much. I don't want to know that much about Alec. I wish him well.
Isn't that what reality shows are, to get you deeper? The whole popularity, you must not be interested in any reality show.
I think there's a difference between what reality TV used to be, right? Reality TV, I think it started off by, putting 10 people on a deserted island and make them do this, that, and the other. It shouldn't involve someone's personal therapy, someone's mental health being splayed out for all to see. I'm just uncomfortable with that.
Someone's never watched the Kardashians.
Well, I don't like that either.
That's also like an augmented reality. They put people in these situations. Reality shows. I'm with Greg. I want to harken back to a day when people stopped being polite and started getting real.
Okay, but the reality television shows have to continue to be cheap programming and evolve, and so the way to evolve is be more intimate than you have been before. Go into places you this is a very cheap form of programming. Cheap programming right now is all of the rage, and just putting cameras inside someone's house and showing you the deepest of intimacies in celebrity. This is a currency that all of us are partaking in social media. We have more access to celebrities and their lives than we have ever had before.
Which is why I don't need reality shows. I've cut them completely out. I don't watch a reality show. What I do is follow people on social media, and that's enough of a reality show. Like, I consume speed via clips. I'm like, okay, that's my reality superstar, this YouTube streamer. I think that's really where reality's gone, and there's these reality-type shows on YouTube. And that being said, there's, Vanderpump Rules and all these really popular shows. The Kardashians are still reality TV gold from a rating standpoint, but it just does nothing for me.
The Paul brothers are about to star one on Max that I think starts later this month.
Like, I don't need a Paul Brothers show, and I'm sure it's going to be uber successful. It's on Max. Like, I personally don't need it because they're always on. They're literally always on. Like, they send out a selfie video, they're performing. I see the reality show 24/7. They're YouTube streamers. They have a podcast. They're on Monday Night Raw. Like, they're boxing. Mike Tyson. Like, I see it all.
Yeah, their whole life is a reality show. So why do you need a reality show about a reality show, right? I mean, that's the Paul brothers.
Oh, I want to ask you guys a couple of questions on this front. One, what is the universally considered most successful of the reality shows, and which one is doing it right now? Does Survivor and The Bachelor, those count as reality shows, right?
Yeah,
that's
they're
not just.
games,
I saw that Chris Cody was mouthing Kardashians back there because he says that's the most successful
and
one.
Jersey Shore.
I think in terms of like building an economy that set up generational
So
wealth for
legacy
that
ones,
family and all the kids, it's a Kardashian. So that was a gold mine.
And now the best and the are the most popular.
They're on Hulu still, I believe.
But the most popular of the reality shows now. Yes,
Love is Blind, probably. I think everybody's on Love is Blind right now. Everything else is kind of reruns. Love is Blind is on its 5th season, so it's a little bit,
Aren't there
faster
two
to catch
different,
up.
like, there's like competition love shows, and then there's like, I'm at your house, you're living your life.
These are two different
reality.
types of reality shows. The dating shows, you're
I look at those
putting
differently.
different branch of reality.
I mean, they're both similarly, like, cheap and like bottom level of the creative space.
Bottom.
How do you have time? I don't have time for this. How do you have time? You have a kid. How do you have time for reality shows?
You think I'm watching all these? I'm just talking about
I don't. Who has time?
I mean, Kardashians is a little guilty pleasure for me. Every once in a while, I'm scanning through Hulu. I'll throw Kardashians on.
At the point in my life, I watched the last season of White Lotus. I enjoyed it. I just told my wife, do it without me. I don't have time. Indian Wells isn't going to watch itself. Look, I got like basically 3 things a week. It's hockey on the second TVs, where I'm just like zoned out. Whatever's going on the main screen is my wife's domain.
Cyclone Mondays.
I got, that was on the second screen. I had to move out of the way for Big City Greens because my daughter's a terrorist with this main TV. Like, I gotta just shut off my life. I can't follow anything. I got Indian Wells. If I wake up at 2:30 in the morning to see Monfils do his thing, that's always going to be there for me. I get 3.5 hours of TV, and I'm spending it watching Left Turns.
The first 4 episodes of White Lotus are a good 2 episodes.
Dude, I'm mad. I watched Righteous Gemstones because I'm like, this is going to be the show that I
was
follow.
wrong. What they did in their first episode was wrong.
I'm
I don't
so
need
mad.
More, I don't need more Bradley Cooper. I need more Gemstones. I don't need origin stories of the Gemstones. You didn't give me any characters from the Gemstones in the first episode.
This is a dangerous game, Righteous Gemstones, and I'm sorry to be going at our partners over at Max, but I love this show. This is one of the few shows that I've been like, let me binge this one. I'm in. What you did to me on that first episode was wrong. Please don't do it to me for a second episode. I need Walton Goggins. I need Baby Billy.
I'll tell you what it is that they did with their first episode. I believe Danny McBride is hell-bent on spending as much money as he can. And so he just did a war reenactment as Righteous Gemstones. I'm looking at the cost of what it is that first episode was, and I thought I was watching Platoon more than I was watching Righteous Gemstones.
The talent budget definitely got blown on Bradley Cooper because there wasn't a single other actor in that episode that I recognized, and that's hard to do for an HBO show.
They just decided to do a war episode with that. It looked real, and it's not what I want from my Gemstones.
Can I have a question here? So Righteous Gemstones is about a megachurch family. That's kind of like the thing. I haven't seen it.
Yes.
But why is there a war?
No, it was a civil war, and they went all the way back to the
Civil
roots of the
war.
family. Like, you can tell what happened here. Danny McBride got extra high one day. Like, super high. Like, higher than he's probably ever been, which is saying a lot. And he's like, what if we did a Civil War episode, and it's Bradley Cooper?
I imagine that show's going to have a ton of great cameos. It's an inspired show, and I'm really stunned nobody did it before these folks are doing it.
But I was waiting for a laugh on that first
it was
episode. There
weird.
was no
It was
laugh.
weird. It was weird. There were no laughs.
I think, is that the joke? That they just tricked us with the first episode? Is the laugh, hey, we got Bradley Cooper for an episode, and we play it straight the whole time?
I thought that Danny McBride was actively making a statement about spending corporate money in the streaming age. That he just said, I've got a popular show show. I'm the one who can get stuff made. Watch what I do with this. I'm just going to do something that's not funny. That is a. Have you seen it yet?
You think he was showing off?
This is a good theory. Like there goes 30 of my minutes. Like I wasted 30 of my minutes on that. It was a little bit over that, and I was just so mad at it because my TV time now is precious.
Mina Kimes is a giant Love is Blind fan, and I really did enjoy having a conversation with her yesterday about Sam Darnold, in which I believe she didn't realize something about herself. I'm texting her asking, you must hate this Sam Darnold signing. She's like, actually, it's financially responsible. It's really just a 2-year deal. Da-da-da-da. I'm like, you're a Seahawk fan. You've got Sam Darnold. She was doing the GM breakdown and not the fan breakdown. There is not a Seahawk fan happy today that Sam Darnold is their quarterback. That team's not better than it was last year because Sam Darnold is their quarterback.
They lost Geno and they lost DK, so yeah, the team's not better.
And Lockett.
Lockett,
but
right?
Sam Darnold was a mirage last year. Those skill people in Minnesota are crazy good. Name Seattle's skill people now. Like
JSN.
You can't lose. I know that they're going to try and do stuff in the draft, but does anyone believe that Sam Darnold is going to make Seattle? Does anyone believe that Sam Darnold will be as good in Seattle as he was in Minnesota? Just start there.
No, that's a healthy skepticism, I think, because we've seen those quarterbacks have a good bounce back year and then hit the market and sign a regrettable deal. It's a weird time to hit reset for Seattle because they were kind of like they were a scrappy team that was in the playoff mix, but I guess they evaluated their team like that's probably our ceiling. So tear it all down.
Are you guys positive that Sam Darnold is better than Geno Smith? Not to bring up his name again.
No, I don't think so. Just because I've seen Geno Smith do it for a longer period of time. Now he is no doubt younger than Geno Smith, and I think it is a fair take to say like no matter how bullish or bearish you are on Geno, we've probably seen his best. He's a longer in the tooth quarterback. He's a stopgap solution. He's been a stopgap solution for Seattle because no one ever thought, even while he was having these years, they had the type of team that he could take them to that next level. So he's just like a year-long loan for Las Vegas. And I don't think anyone thinks anything of this Sam Darnold deal other than like he's probably going to be on another 3 teams before his career's out.
I think because of the age difference alone, I would rather have Sam Darnold than Geno Smith. Geno Smith had a really good year 3 years ago.
The Amin season.
A season less good 2 years ago.
He followed it up with another good year. He's been solid. I don't want to hash this.
Okay, the thing that I did want to bring back from yesterday, though, that I wanted to ask you guys, because all of you made DK Metcalf a number 1 receiver, which I get. But 66 catches the last couple of years, that's 4 catches a game. That's 4 a game, and that's not a number 1 receiver. 4 catches a game is not a number 1.
I'm with you. I stayed out of it because just a show before, I was arguing that Tyler Lockett, kind of sneaky, has been just as many years. Like, their numbers are really damn close. You could make an argument that over the course of 5 years, Tyler Lockett, while he didn't fit the profile conventionally, was their actual number 1 target.
Are we starting to really actually have that conversation? Like I told you last week, I didn't know we were ready to have that conversation. DK not a number 1. Like now in Pittsburgh, is George Pickens the number 1?
The reason I bring it up is because of Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden. And tell me how true these reports are, because I don't know what to believe. And I don't know why this sneaks up on me every year. But the free agent movement of the last couple of days, and I will go to Tony in a second because I am told that he has been crafting all week in a top 5 top free agent moves. But since you, Greg, are a football authority, and since we've got Dookie back there, an internationally known insider, Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers was in a report, but I don't know how credible the reports are, and there are a lot of people doing a bunch of maneuvering right now trying to get what are the couple of jobs that are available. Have you seen some of the reporting on the Giants that Shane has ruined everything because of what happened on Hard Knocks, and now not only do no NFL teams want to do Hard Knocks because of how the Giants front office looked while getting rid of Saquon Barkley, but now evidently nobody wants to go play for the Giants. Aaron Rodgers, Mina told us that was mutual desperation, but Pittsburgh seems to be in play. Is that real? Is Pittsburgh with Pickens and DK Metcalf something that that makes sense to you for Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers is desperate right now. He doesn't have a lot of options. A month ago, 2 weeks ago, I think everybody assumed he was going to sign with the Raiders, and they went elsewhere. I think Aaron Rodgers right now is going to take the first starting quarterback job he's offered because the opportunities are dwindling. There aren't that many teams left that are actively shopping and looking for a quarterback. And the idea that Aaron Rodgers might not get an offer that he feels is good enough is growing by the day.
What's real, though, with the Steelers and the reporting around the Steelers? Because you have a lot of local reporters doing stuff that the national reporters aren't doing. And so I don't know what's accurate when it comes to Pittsburgh and what is agent spiel, because it behooves Aaron Rodgers and his people to make everyone think that both the Giants and the Steelers are interested in Aaron Rodgers.
But does Mike Tomlin want to put up with the Aaron Rodgers circus? Because, that does not seem like a fit to me at all. If you could get Russell Wilson to come back at an okay price, I think that might be a better option for the Steelers than Aaron Rodgers, who's still, he had a good second half, but he's still unknown, and he brings so much baggage that, why would you want to bring that in if you're Mike Tomlin?
We'll say we didn't know that Antonio Brown was crazy until he left Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but Mike Tomlin kept that, under wraps,
yeah,
right? But, we know Aaron Rodgers is crazy.
True enough.
I shouldn't say that, but, we know Aaron Rodgers has a lot of outside interest.
Comes a lot of attention.
He will be bringing to the Steelers that doesn't seem like something Mike Tomlin would want to invite into the locker room.
It just feels like Aaron Rodgers wants to be the quarterback, but also coach the team pseudo-wise. So it's are you going to fall underneath and be humble enough to let a coach, or do you want to do everything?
And this is an upgrade in talent, right? I think a lot of people are positioning that way, but, Breece Hall and Garrett – no, I'm saying for Aaron Rodgers to go to Pittsburgh – Najee Harris, I guess the addition of DK Metcalf makes this more of a consideration, but I like Wilson as a wide receiver better than I like DK or than I like Pickens. I like Breece Hall better as a running back than I like Najee Harris.
Harris is out, too. He's not even there.
And to your point about nobody wanting to play for the Giants, they just signed Javon Holland, who is a big free agent loss for Miami. So I think the Giants offering money makes them a team that people want to play for.
Yeah, no one wants to play with the Giants until they don't have options, and then they go play with the Giants. Yeah. It doesn't matter. If they get offered the money they're looking for and there's no other teams available, the Giants are just not going to not have a football team because of Hard Knocks last season. They're going to have a football team full of players that went to play for the Giants.
Yeah, and if the Giants end up being Aaron Rodgers' last option, he will play for the Giants. He's not going to sit out the season at his age. He still has the ego and the need to sign and start somewhere, and he's running out of options.
Najee Harris is a Charger?
Yeah. Old face, new place?
Dude,
that happened.
There was something refreshing about yesterday with the X outage that even front offices were complaining about it because they weren't working with all the information, because you would get an alert, you wouldn't see the whole thing, you'd try to click the tweet, it wouldn't expand because X had all these issues. It was a throwback. They were breaking news on television for folks yesterday.
Wow. Can we explore for a second, though, what Billy is saying? I know we are all in agreement that whatever Aaron Rodgers brings in terms of noisiness is going to be probably unlike any quarterback except maybe Deshaun Watson. There's no, I don't even know, or Colin Kaepernick in terms of noisiness. But the thing I wanted to ask you guys, what are the practical and actual detriments to that? When you say, does Mike Tomlin want to put up with that? He got rid of Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown was allowing people into their locker room, was addicted to social media, and did some things at the end that revealed to us that Antonio Brown was less stable than we thought. But in real terms, not noisiness, what is the effect of bringing headlines with a quarterback when you're starved for a quarterback?
Well, it depends on your team, right? And where you are as an organization. If you're a desperate organization like the Giants, then you're willing to bring it in. If you're Mike Tomlin, who has not had a losing season ever, who has kind of this, mold that he likes for his team, why would you risk that for bringing in a 42-year-old quarterback for one season and throw everything off just out of desperation because maybe Aaron Rodgers can take us to the second round of the playoffs?
I would make the argument that Aaron Rodgers bringing to that organization no turnovers has more value than whatever fear you have of headlines that don't matter much, that are noisy and unpleasant, and the Steelers have only had 3 coaches ever. But Mike Tomlin is also in a desperate place because he's where Jimmy Johnson and Wanstead were at the end with the Dolphins, where people were done with, hey, we're going to get there, get to the playoffs, but we're going to be the enemy of great is good, and we're never going to be good enough to do anything. I think the desperation would be enough for Mike Tomlin that he might be willing to welcome a chastened Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if,
but also a coach killer, Aaron Rodgers, right? So like, if you give in to the desperation, it better work, or this might be the end for you, Mike Tomlin. Like, signing him and having it blow up in your face could be the end of Mike Tomlin.
I think that's the case either way, though. I think Mike Tomlin is in legitimate trouble there, where people are tired in Pittsburgh of what they're calling mediocrity that isn't actually mediocrity because they've been spoiled by him having whatever it is, 15 straight winning seasons.
Talk about a guy that would get a job right
Instantly.
away if
He'd
he
get
got
a job.
fired.
Yeah.
Right. He would, but it's been a long time since the Steelers' last Super Bowl. You know what else has been a long time? Since Aaron Rodgers' last Super Bowl. Career underachiever. 1 Super Bowl at age 42 he's great, don't get me wrong, first ballot Hall of Famer, but when you win 1 Super Bowl with that talent and that longevity, that's a career underachiever.
I have a question, though. Dan did the thing that I don't think it's accurate. He's like, you invite Aaron Rodgers into your team, no turnovers. What a ridiculous blanket statement. He had 11 picks last year. He was bad. He's 5 years older than Russell Wilson. He's also a worse quarterback than Russell Wilson was, if you look at QBR. So what are we doing here? This is like, if we're comparing and we're looking at age and we're projecting for the future and we're looking at what they most recently did, Russell Wilson was better. 2 games against the Miami Dolphins got y'all crazy?
The Steelers also re-signed Mike Tomlin to a 3-year extension last offseason. So, like, they're not just going to pay him to go away after this. They had enough faith in him last offseason, and last year they were right there on the cusp of making the playoffs.
That doesn't get you very much these days. The cusp of making the playoffs just got Seattle changing everything and has the Dolphins drowning.
Okay, but what does Aaron Rodgers get you these days?
That's fair.
Well, first of all, it gets you star hope is what it gets you. And it's different than the previous star hope that you tried with Russell Wilson, which is something teams do all the time. It's what Seattle just did.
Also, the Steelers made the playoffs last year. I misspoke.
I'm just a little confused. Like, what are we doing? Here's an older star. Much older star.
He's a good fit for the Giants, like in what like how it's being painted, like star hope, like great New York Giants just cross.
But
town.
he just did New York. He can't go across town and be
it's
like,
not even
oh,
it's the
I'm
same
here
place.
now.
Yeah, just stay there.
That's true.
Stay put.
I am doing something with Aaron Rodgers' second half of the season that I was not doing the first, where he was moving a lot worse the first half of the season, just physically. To me, it's an odd thing to say, given the kind of greatness that we're talking about, but when you physically lose what he lost in being able to just move around the pocket, it makes him an entirely different quarterback. It's the thing that's happened to Russell Wilson, who's like 8 years younger than him, but has taken even more of a physical beating, where you're just used to him sliding around the pocket and being someone who moves away from the rush, and it's not something he can physically do anymore when he's 10 years older than the people chasing him.
I didn't get tricked one bit by that second half of Aaron Rodgers. He was playing pickup ball in the back. Those weren't meaningful games. Those were jokes. He was playing a lot of bad teams. Red Zone would never go to those games. He was just spamming balls to his best friend over there, loving life like it was his last hurrah. Russell Wilson was playing meaningful football.
He wasn't very good in them at the end, but
he was better than Aaron.
He was playing.
But Mike,
them.
here's the thing: they had Justin Fields and they had Russell Wilson, and then Justin Fields was playing well until Mike Tomlin said, "You know what? Russell Wilson gives us a better chance to win." Maybe they've looked inside and said, "Hey, you know what? I think Aaron Rodgers, even though he's been playing bad in New York, gives us a better chance to win than what we've already seen with Russell Wilson."
I'm not saying it's not a difficult decision to make. Like, you weigh the pros and cons, but the more that you look at it practically, counting numbers, age. I'm not even talking about off-field headaches. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, he has fallen off completely since trying to force a ball to Devontae Adams and missing a wide-open receiver underneath in the playoffs against the San Francisco 49ers. He's fallen off a cliff. And on top of that, he tore his Achilles. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
You also, if you want to cite Greg Cody's quarterback rankings from yesterday that led into that whole debate over Geno Smith, Russell Wilson was ranked 23rd in those rankings. Aaron Rodgers, 22nd. So how much better are you getting?
Okay, but would Aaron Rodgers be an upgrade over Daniel Jones, for example? Yeah. Yes, he would. For 1 year, Aaron Rodgers is a good stopgap one-year quarterback for somebody.
But he hasn't been.
Well, he hasn't been for the Jets. He was on a bad Jets team, and he couldn't elevate it. But it's a fact that no matter the competition, it's a fact that his second half of last season was good.
That wasn't considered a bad Jets team until he made it a bad Jets team. That was not considered a bad Jets team.
The defense was considered okay.
That Jets team had hope when he was the quarterback.
They were favorites to win the division at the start of the
You've
season.
said that a few times, and you keep repeating that, and I don't think that's true. No. I think the Bills were always
you guys know. I'm telling you.
People wrote the Bills off.
The Bills had a bad
off. The start of last season, the Dolphins were ahead of the Bills.
It's another thing that you invite with Aaron Rodgers is like, hey, what makes you most comfortable? Well, Al Lazard does. Nathaniel Hackett does. The guy he's his own worst enemy because he carried so many mediocre people to success that they would never see otherwise. McCarthy, all these OCs that got jobs.
Fat number 80.
He just elevated everybody to the point that his mind got shaped that this is who I am. Just give me these mediocre people constantly. Hopefully Tomlin's different. If they do bring him in, I actually do think Tomlin would be different, and I can see how it could work. Do I trust Aaron Rodgers more to not lose me a Mike Tomlin game plan than I trust Russell Wilson? Like, that's the conversation I guess folks should be having.
You know who I would go after if I was the Steelers? Jameis Winston.
Wow.
Jameis Winston can
talk about Mike Tomlin's head blowing off.
No,
that's
way.
Not a fit for that.
It's like one of the worst fits for that team.
No way.
Because of the turnovers, it undoes it. Like they have to win in the margins. They cannot be turning the ball over, and Jameis will.
Did you see the work he did for Fox for the Super Bowl? That's a new man. That guy is buttoned up, and he's coming to work next season for whatever team signs him. That's a man that means business next year. If I'm a team out there looking for a quarterback, I look no further than Jameis Winston.
Okay. That is excellent anarchy from you. I will point out again to the audience that the big change the Tampa Bay Bucks made from going 7-9 to winning the Super Bowl was just eliminating Jameis Winston.
For the greatest quarterback ever. Like, come on. What are you doing?
Everything else was the same.
Who, by the way, was breaking protocol and having secret workouts while no other team was working out.
He's fine. Who cares?
Jameis Winston, did he throw 30 interceptions?
30 club.
Yeah.
He's the only one. Like, who's going to do that?
Okay.
History.
But I want everyone here, okay?
I hate to break it to you. Aaron Rodgers is a lot closer to Jameis Winston than he is to the version of Aaron Rodgers you think that you're going to get.
Okay, you're wrong on that.
I'm not.
Okay, again, I'm going to just keep saying that. I know that your analysis, Dookie, is when I say 30 interceptions. I know that's...
Yes, 4 years ago.
I know, yes.
It is a big number.
I know, but 30 interceptions is
as opposed to the 0 made-up interceptions that Aaron Rodgers had last year.
Okay, I assure you that Aaron Rodgers will not throw 30 interceptions in any season remaining.
He may never play again.
Even if he's running around out there at 80 years old with a dialysis machine trailing him, he will not throw 30 interceptions in a season. Go ahead and find me the two quarterbacks. Did any two quarterbacks in the sport last season, did Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield throw 30 interceptions together?
Combined?
I don't think so. That's not how they're...
Cousins at the end of the year is as bad as I've ever seen.
That's not how...
That's fine. You're writing him off for something he did 4 years ago. You did that with Josh Allen, too, and where's he now?
Okay, Billy. Did it 4 years ago. They replaced him and immediately won the Super Bowl. Replaced just his 30 interceptions. Just got Tom Brady to stop throwing 30 interceptions.
Dan, we are such Aaron Rodgers jilted lovers. He was our favorite of all time, and he hurt us repeatedly, and we just want to believe he was the best version of himself. But I think we got to accept who he is now.
I accept that Jameis Winston is who he is. He is not buttoned up after his work for Fox this offseason.
Give him a chance, Steelers. You'll see. I won't be proven right because no one's going to give him a chance, but that's not because what I'm saying is wrong. It's because no one is willing to take the chance on him.
You will not be proven right because there has never been a worse fit in the history of the sport for a conservative run-the-ball team, the Steelers, than Jameis Winston.
Baker and Cousins combined for 32 picks this season. But Baker had 41 touchdowns, by the way.
If you tell me one quarterback does what 2 does, take him anytime.
Amin El-Hassan has written in, and he is pissed off. He writes, Amin El-Hassan of Oddball, this LeBron conversation is wildly irresponsible. And then he hits me with the hammer. Shame on you.
Oh, damn.
He took shame, and he threw it on me.
Wow.
I am now draped in shame because Amin says that I'm wildly irresponsible for simply saying, when faced with something unprecedented, do you ever ask any questions? Because I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I want to make that clear.
You haven't talked to anybody.
But if you had to guess and be right, if you had to guess and be right, if it was a game show, you gotta be on a game.
You have to put $10,000 on it either way. Which way you doing it?
Wildly irresponsible.
Yeah, I sort of I'm on Team El-Hassan here.
But if you had to put $10,000 on it, which way you put
Greg,
that?
he did stop being a journalist recently.
Yeah,
that's true too.
That's true.
You're right.
Banging the drum.
I haven't accused anybody of anything. There will be no clip of me accusing anyone of anything here.
Well, you gave a platform to an accuser, though, and you ran with it.
I gave a platform.
He's talking about the Chael Sonnen.
Chael Sonnen? I gave a platform to an accuser.
Yeah. This is your magnum opus when it comes to stirring.
Amin will join us tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, okay, great.
In studio.
All right, excellent.
He wasn't gonna, but we're calling him in. Just
okay.
You're doing this in March. People are going to seize on this. Yeah. You're doing. You know what you're doing.
Seize on what?
You're doing this in March.
Not telling you how to think.
He's just asking.
I haven't made any accusations. There will be no shame placed on me, no matter what Amin is doing with his surplus of shames that he dishes out.
Look at you. Look at me in my eyes telling me you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
What am I doing? I played sound from Chael Sonnen saying what Chael Sonnen said. You can make up your own mind on what you think.
But it's not news. Yeah, how long ago did Chael Sonnen... Was that pre-pandemic? Yeah. It might have been after because Andrew Schultz was in the frame, but I know he did this pre-pandemic too.
What's your deal with LeBron? Yesterday you're taking out his family. Today you're accusing him of PEDs. What's going on here?
Did neither of those things. Today is the 5th anniversary of COVID being declared a national emergency. So is today the day that Rudy Gobert started touching all the microphones?
That happened on Saturday.
Which was Sedano Day for me.
Yeah, which was also the 5-year anniversary of Donald Trump saying there are 15 cases. It's got to get down to 0 real quick.
I want to show the audience what shame should be on the audience by going to this Boost Mobile line again. The telephone number is 305-486-GOTS. I'm very disappointed over the course of us farming out the creativity to a competitive community that what we've gotten back that gets assembled by Taylor is just an assortment of songs about Michael Doliak and an assortment of takes that haven't been up to snuff. Let's play the latest batch.
Hey, this is Paulie from Madison, Wisconsin, and it's occurred to me that Sean Penn is finally old enough to start collecting a Penn Sean.
What up, guys? Jawar from Virginia, first time, long time. Calling and let everyone know that my personal record book, Philadelphia Eagles have 4 championships. They beat 2 of the best quarterbacks of all time. Those should count for 2 rings. Eagles, 4 rings. Kevin Durant, none.
Hey, Dan, this is Ben from North Dakota. And anyone that buys, consumes, or enjoys Peeps should be jailed and put on a watch list.
This is Jay from Rochester, New York, and this is my limited fake, Ray Romano.
Ah, Ma!
Hey, this is Tyler from Michigan. My hot take is that Greg Cody was right. The Dolphins should have traded Dan Marino. They would have got a king's ransom in return, and maybe they would have actually had a decent defense. I'll hang up and listen.
Hey, Dan. First time, long time. James Gladstone. Sounds like the name of a character from the board game Clue. You know, like James Gladstone is guilty of murder in the kitchen with the candelabra. You know, like Clue.
Long-time caller, first-time listener. If a regular person wears denim on denim, we call it a Canadian tuxedo. But if Lenny Kravitz wears it, we call it sexy. Thanks, I'll hang up and listen.
That phone line has international access. Everyone in the world can call and be creative.
Wait, where is your snuff? Because I felt like that was up to it.
It was good.
Sean Penn earning a pin shine was terrible.
Yeah,
I had to talk that one out. I didn't get it at first. And I was like, wow.
Pen shin.
The Boost Mobile boldest take from the weekend is presented by Boost Mobile, the newest 5G network in the country.
I think this is my favorite segment.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Should anyone who consumes Peeps be jailed? At Le Batard Show.
How do we feel about the fake Ray Romano?
I loved it.
That was
Loved it.
One guy said long-time caller, first-time listener.
Yeah, I believe that was probably on purpose.
Miranda?
I love that.
I have the origins before you ask of up to snuff.
Wow.
Because it's a ridiculous thing to say. What is the snuff that we're up to? It originated in the early 19th century in England. Initially, it referred to someone being sharp or aware, with snuff referring to finely ground tobacco that people would inhale through their noses.
Did any Doliak songs sneak into the Boost Mobile line?
Doliak, he's 6 feet from the rim, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet is close enough. Doliak, a couple bounces on the rim, and it drops in, running back with the shooter's touch.
So that finely ground tobacco would get in people's noses and give people kind of a buzz. And so, like, if you said something was up to snuff, I don't like something else, it would be, you'd be alert. It would get your head on a swivel.
Mike Doliak. Mike Doliak.
Front court not bad, really not black.
Mike Doliak.
High motor finger roller guy who will lower his shoulder, Doliak.
Mike Doliak.
You can't have another one.
I wanna be the very best, like Michael Doliak. Banana, the best center from east to west, even playing behind Shaq. Well traveled across the league, basically played for every team. But then he came to Miami. 51, he got that ring. Doliak got a pick and roll to the hoop, tripping over your giant shoes. Doliak, oh, you're my best friend, even more than Rafe LaFrance. Doliak.
Is that that's a Pokemon song?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, the kids are loving it.
All right,
The
so
Pokemon
we're
theme song.
skewing younger there. Mike Ryan mentioned not being able to keep up with some of the free agent moves, so I will just tell you that Josh Sweat is now an Arizona Cardinal. Josh Palmer is a Bill, and I'm curious here. Have you guys shaken off the memory of Laramie Tunsil when you do word association? Laramie Tunsil has been a very good tackle for a long time. Have you guys shaken off the memory of his draft day? One of the funnier things to ever happen on a draft day, where his draft stock slipped because he was wearing a gas mask filled with marijuana smoke, and evidently all the teams ran away. I remember having a conversation with Adam Gase after that, in which he thanked me for being on television talking about how stupid it was that his stock dropped because he was being blackmailed, and he was obviously and is a very good player. He's now in Washington. He goes for 4 picks. It makes sense that you would protect your young quarterback by investing.
It would for Houston, wouldn't it?
Yes.
It would for Houston, and they get 4 picks from Washington because they're going to protect Jaden. But has he erased the stigma or the laughter from the first? You now associate Laramie Tunsil with excellent offensive line
No,
play.
it's still the word association.
Yeah,
but I don't
gas
judge
mask. It was like, the gas mask thing. He ended up being a good player. Yeah, but it's I always lead gas mask.
He'll never escape that.
It's also he was like the Dolphins fans, I think, look at him as the trade that got us Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
He's been a good player for a long time. It was silly that in retrospect, pretty silly for that to be what costs you draft droppage.
Do you think, because you remember how it broke? It broke like draft night as they're talking about him, and he starts. Everyone's wondering, well, if this is out, what else is there going on?
Right.
This is bad judgment. So you can understand the slide as that's breaking, and it's catching all these front offices by surprise.
All it takes is a rumor sometime, let alone visual evidence. That's why Dan Marino dropped to the Dolphins at number 28.
Wait a minute, though. The rumors are never marijuana. Dan Marino dropped because of other rumors. The rumors are never marijuana. We are not in a space anymore where marijuana has that stigma. That was a blackmail attempt that was effective in that it did what it was supposed to do, but only because these front offices that are always requesting the courage of others ran scared from something unpredictable when they're trying to do all their planning and everything. We can agree, though, that any player who is coming up in the draft who has marijuana issues is no longer a stigmatized player, correct?
But we're talking about whatever it was, 8 or 10 years ago, 6, 8 years ago. I think the stigma has really lifted just in that.
But football doesn't even make this something that they're testing for anymore.
Yeah, but
right?
at the time that would have been a problem.
Greg and Billy are absolutely right. Like, you're fresh off Josh Gordon being the best wide receiver in the league, losing his entire career to the stuff.
We are in agreement now, though, that it was stupid. Yes, or we're not in agreement.
Yeah,
that
it was pretty extreme. The gas mask. It was all like very shocking to learn. I don't blame a single, especially 8 years ago, a single front office to be like, okay, this guy's not on our board right now. We don't know what the hell this is.
At the time, it wasn't stupid because you had no idea if he was even going to be able to play for you if you drafted him.
Okay, but the reason that I say it's stupid is because look at how obviously he's an excellent player. He's still going for 4 draft picks, and he's been in the league for how long? Like, this is...
Yeah, but it's the NFL draft. There's other excellent players on your board that
you have 10
evaluated.
minutes to decide.
Yeah, like, hey, 10 minutes, you're splitting hairs between Laramie Tunsil and this other offensive lineman. Just as background, a video hit the internet 5 minutes ago of him smoking weed with a gas mask, and we don't know where it's coming from or if this is the tip of the iceberg, if this is a blackmail attempt. Either way, go ahead and tie your future to this guy.
Yeah, let's the tiebreaker is let's not take the guy wearing a gas mask.
Okay, you say tiebreaker, but this guy was seen as a top 5 talent as offensive lineman. The skill set is not all things being equal. He's better than almost anybody else who played the position in the draft.
Right. I get where you're coming from, and you're looking at it from now. Hindsight's 2020. Like, you're being pretty flippant with the career of a front office executive that has climbed his entire career, and all of a sudden, this is my first round pick. This is my first pick as GM. My job's on the line. Like, I don't know if I can do this.
I'm not being flippant. I'm asking for people whose job it is to find value and have vision, to find value and have vision. That's all I'm asking for. Do your job.
But the first 5 picks were Jared Goff, Super Bowl champion, Carson Wentz, Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Ramsey.
Those are, except for like one, I think, all good players.
Ronnie Stanley just signed a big deal.
Yeah, Ronnie Stanley ended up being a good player. If the tiebreaker between Ronnie Stanley and Laramie Tunsil was the gas mask video, the person made a good call on Ronnie Stanley.
I was doing offensive lineman. I wasn't doing all positions. I was just doing, you need an offensive lineman.
I mean, Jack Conklin and Ronnie Stanley went ahead of him?
The only tackle was Ronnie Stanley that went before him.
The only thing we disagree on is that you're not recognizing or admitting that 9 years ago, the stigma against marijuana use in the NFL was much more onerous than it is today.
It's not that I'm not acknowledging that. It's that I'm always asking leadership to risk unpopularity because that's what leadership does.
But it's more than unpopularity when there are consequences to him failing drug tests and not being able to play on the field.
It's also not just what leadership does. They do other things. It's not, all right, I'm a leader. I'm going to risk unpopularity. That is my form of leadership. No, that's one of the things that I can do if I have my convictions. But my job as a front office executive in the NFL is to get the best player, the one that's not going to explode, the one that isn't going to make my team worse. And I think learning that on the fly, we're really relitigating this is a weird time.
Well, I just do believe that things have changed so much in this country that it is worth looking back at how silly we were back then about things, especially when I'm starting the show, shrugging my shoulders, even though Amin says shame on me and it's widely irresponsible, by understanding that that drug use in the pain sports is going to be something that is so, and the people who lord over those sports know this, know how many self-medicators there are, know before they draft some of these people where the holes and weaknesses are, and I just don't think there should ever be a lot of, or should have ever been a lot of fear of whatever it is you think marijuana is, because you're a leader and you're an old person and you're not someone who is thinking clearly about how it is that consequences and risk need to be managed when you're in a leadership position. And you're saying to me that you want these people you know, that they're worried about their job or that they're making decisions because their careers are in jeopardy. All of the decisions are those. Like every single one of the decisions that they're making that are the big decisions are things that risk your job. And too often, what ends up happening with executives in sports is they just do what everyone else does because they're afraid. And it's not what I want from my leadership.
I agree with you that in the clarity of retrospect, the Miami Dolphins made a fabulous draft pick by taking Tunsil, despite that image of him wearing a gas mask. But without that clarity of retrospect, in real time, it was more than just the marijuana aspect. It was just an alien visual. And you're wondering, that draft night, the whole league had to be wondering, what the hell is he wearing? What's his mental health issue? I mean, a lot of stuff went into just the jarring photo of that.
But you guys say the entire league, it went from 5 to 13. So they still invested millions and millions of dollars in the pick 8 picks later. Like the thing you guys are talking about, it's fine at 13, but 5, nah, too much for me. Too much for me at 5.
I just think it's like looking back, like the positions along the offensive line, you could argue they've had better careers than Laramie Tunsil.
I mean,
so it's just fair. Yeah, I guess that's part of leadership too. But it worked out for Laramie Tunsil, it worked out for the Miami Dolphins. It was a different time. It's like the stigma around marijuana in that league, fresh off the Josh Gordon thing, and in this country has evolved totally.
I mean, Laramie Tunsil will be beloved by Miami Dolphins fans forever just for all of the value that they got once they traded him. Like, they rebuilt their entire team by trading Laramie Tunsil. If you look at all the picks that they got, it led to Tyreek. It led to a ton of people, just Laramie Tunsil.
A ton of people and no playoff victories.
Super true.
What is Houston doing in particular? Like they got
we started today. We're taking out Dan Marino. We took out
LeBron
Pudge, and we
Tunsil,
went after LeBron James.
These are all local luminaries.
Exactly right. The
Ekblad.
Panthers. We started talking about Ekblad.
The only one that deserves it is Brad Marchand.
Oh no, we also took out Messi, didn't we?
Today's show is called Reckless.
Speaking of local luminaries, Ron McGill is a local and a national luminary. He had his feast with the beast this past weekend. We have some photographs here of many people. Tony went and Billy went, and Greg was mad because he went, but Chris Cody flaked, and Greg was mad at his son for not making it.
I wanted him to drive me there.
So I mean, he says I flaked.
Not worry about having a cocktail.
The zoo
was a long way away.
Yeah, I never could make it. I didn't flake. I texted Ron early in the week.
Why is Ron next to my wife?
Was that Ari Azer?
It is. Ron McGill has only media friends. It is. All of his friends are in the media. Do you have any top friends who aren't in the media, Ron? Anybody who isn't somebody who can help serve you in your role as ambassador for Zoo Miami?
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
It's all media people. Your best friends are all media people. Did I hear correctly on the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody that you and Ron McGill are in talks on a second book? But
It's a rumor.
But you're not sure whether or not you want to do it or not?
Nothing's been signed, but we're talking about it. Ron's been, and the publisher have been kind enough to approach me about that, and it sounds like a very, very interesting project.
Do you want to share with us anything, or is
Ron, what would you say about it?
I think it's kind of interesting, actually. I was approached on this project a while back, long time ago, and I would not do it because I didn't think I could do it. When they told me, well, we'll talk to Greg about it, and I said, if Greg's willing to do it, but Greg's got a lot on his plate. Make a long story short, it's a book on sex and the animals. It's going to be more. It's going to be more of a photo book. Puts a lot less pressure on Greg having to write so much. He's going to write. Don't get me wrong. He's going to do the narrative on it. But the images will be the driving factor of this book. Mm-hmm. So it's basically, this will not be a book that you get for your kindergartner.
There you go. Unlike The Pride of a Lion, which
is
very suitable for children, particularly middle school or,
That's right. As a matter of fact, I'm heading over to Books and Books tomorrow because I have to sign 770 more books that were just sold.
Whoa! That's a lot of books.
I know.
Wow. That's good. That's great to hear. We love The Pride of a Lion. I was so very proud of that project, and we look forward to this next one. Should I agree to do it?
Hey, I want to tell you something, guys. Look, we just had our silent auction, right, at the Feast with the Beast. This was one of the things, which is the photograph that I captured, a signed photograph of Quasi.
The lion signed it?
No, I signed it.
What a beautiful lion!
Then, of course, the book signed. And I especially was asked to sign it with a special dedication, so I put a big dedication in there. Okay.
Whoa! Wow.
Yes. You know how much these people paid for that photograph in that book?
I would love to know.
$5,000.
Wow.
That is why your endowment is as substantive as it is.
That's magic. What's my cut of that, Ron? I'm just curious.
That's $0.
Get an endowment.
What I just got from that laughter is your cut is exactly $0.
We're joined by shark apologist Ron McGill. Ron, I saw a couple months back, it appeared to be sick. A mako shark was just hanging in a lake in Hollywood. And now I saw a video yesterday on social media of a 12-foot mako shark swimming past a boat in Hollywood. Why are makos, which are historically not found near Hollywood, Florida, hanging around here now? We got great whites and we got makos. This is not good.
Makos, first of all, are found throughout the ocean. They don't usually come close to shore. They're more of a deep water shark. That's a tiger shark right there in that video. That's not a mako. That's a tiger shark. But anyway, I understand the effect that you want to give here is, oh my God, sharks, everybody's going to die.
But listen, these are new sharks. In my entire life, there were never makos found in Hollywood, ever. Now it's something I got to worry about.
First of all, Mike, to say never is wrong. Okay, they've been off of the coast of Hollywood many times. As a matter of fact, charter fishermen that tell you they leave off the coast of Hollywood, catch makos on a regular basis.
Okay, well, I apologize. I believe you. You have more facts on it. I'd never seen it, though.
But the fact is, you are now very laser focused on sharks. So anytime a shark thing comes up, you want to prepare to come on the Le Batard Show and hammer me about how sharks are going to be the end of the human race. And you're so far from the truth on that. You're so negative about an animal that is so beneficial to the ocean, which in turn is beneficial to our quality of life. And I'm just telling you, listen, stop it, Mike. Just stop it. Sharks are less dangerous than the damn car you drive to work.
What is the video that we just played? Lewis, do you want to show that again? What is the video? Because Mike went rogue there and chose some video.
I can tell by looking at the teeth, that's a tiger shark.
Yeah, look at this killing machine. I've seen this video, too, because my algo is locked in on these man killers.
So what is this doing? Why is this doing this the way that it is doing it?
Well, because he's being tormented. Can you see how the guy is grabbing the thing's snout and he's trying to get the thing to bite so he gets a good video, so he gets a lot of clicks on a stupid social media platform? Did you see that shark attacking anything? No. The shark was actually kind of laying back until the guy taps it on the snout and puts the freaking surfboard or whatever he's got there in his mouth so he can get a good video for social media. Another freaking idiot.
Okay, I hate when I get Ron this indignant.
I love
it's
it.
Always, he's just a nice and decent and peaceful man.
Listen, I'm done. I'm done with these social media idiots who do whatever it takes for clicks at the expense of an animal. I'm done with it.
Preach.
I'm done with you defending sharks. They're killing machines.
Let's play for Ron. He's talked before about how I think it's gorillas eat berries and get drunk. Here are some lemurs. They are using some sort of millipede toxin. to get high. What is happening here to this lemur? This lemur. This is millipede toxin that prevents pests from biting, and they're using it here to just do drugs.
No, they're not trying to do drugs. What they're doing is they're getting the thing to spray the secretion that causes a repellent for insects, and they rub it on their fur to keep the mosquitoes from biting them. Okay, they're not getting high, Dan. They're actually doing some. They bite it because when they bite it, that arthropod, the millipede, squirts out that secretion, which then can be used as a repellent for insects. So they bite it, they don't eat the thing, or they're not getting high on it, but when they bite it, then rub the millipede all over their fur to get the secretion on their fur. It's fantastic when you think about it, how smart this animal is to utilize the biochemical of another animal to help defend it against mosquito bites. We should all be that smart, man.
Couldn't this be a two birds situation? You know, it's keeping the mosquitoes away and they're also getting high?
No, they're not getting high off of that chemical. If they had enough of that chemical ingested, it probably would kill them.
Ron, what's the dumbest thing that an animal will do because they think it serves a purpose? Like, before we were talking about how humans used to sniff tobacco, right? And it seems like humans, animals, whatever, there's nothing that they won't sniff or put in some part of their body, right, to see if it does something. So, like, what is something that animals continue to do that doesn't actually serve a purpose?
Well, they continue to put things in their mouth. I mean, all the time. Indiscretionary diet is what I call it. You know, anybody like I had a miniature schnauzer. God, my God. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what just happened. This is the God's honest truth. My daughter just got off the phone with me. She has a miniature schnauzer puppy. He's now about 4 months old. And last night she brought him back from his walk out in Los Angeles, okay, in Studio City, and he started looking like he was sick. He started losing his balance. She was all worried. He started looking like he was going into a coma. She immediately brought him to the veterinarian. You know what happened to that dog?
Ate something.
He was chewing the remains of a doobie that somebody threw out on the street. He got chewed on marijuana.
Doobie.
Wow.
Do you think he knew and he was trying to get high?
No, these freaking dogs will put everything in their mouth. And he literally got high. And it got to the point where my daughter thought he was going into some kind of, neurological backlash. And the vet took it and said, no, this is exact. And the vet told her, we get 4 or 5 dogs coming in every week that do that either lick the ash that's left from a marijuana cigarette, or actually the stub itself. They chew on it and they get freaking sick and high.
Get super hungry.
Is it possible that Ron, maybe your daughter was puffing the magic dragon? You know what I mean?
Smoking
and then
a
wasn't a stranger. You know what I mean? Like some of the ganja, if you will.
Smoking another doobie.
You're making fun of me using the word doobie. They don't use that word anymore?
Yeah, they do. Doobie Brothers do. They use it all the time.
Greg Cody has your back when it comes to the pop culture lexicon.
You got that right. Hey, Ron, I read that video cameras were placed around the necks of a half dozen zebra. And one of the things they learned was that in the wild, zebras and giraffes sometimes hang out together for the mutual protection of both species.
You're exactly right.
What else can be learned from tagging animals or placing video cameras on them?
Well, first of all, we learn what they eat. We learn that they prefer certain types of grasses, certain types of foods. We learn what what other species they hang out with. What's the environment they hang out with? What animals might be leaders? Is it a herd reaction to things, or are they individual reactions to things? How they defend themselves. If an animal's being attacked, if an animal's being predated on, what do they do to defend themselves? So we learn about the behaviors, and we also learn about range. How much area does an animal need to adequately survive, not just survive, but thrive in a natural environment? So those cameras provide a lot of data. A lot of those cameras also have components in them that give us weather, temperature, humidity, rain, all that kind of stuff. So we know the ideal environment that these animals are looking for.
Ron, Feast with the Beast was incredible over the weekend. I do have a question for you, though. The tigers, obviously you know them by name. Are these the only tigers on the planet that have heard Bad Bunny songs? Because the bar was playing Bad Bunny, and it was right next to where the tigers were, and they were very, very interactive.
They were into it?
They were into it. First, they were sleeping kind of curled up. Then the Bad Bunny started. Then they kind of poked their head up and started walking closer to their little moat thing right there.
They probably hated it.
And just kind of hung out.
They might have hated the music, but they were looking for the bunny, if you know what I mean.
Okay, we don't know what you mean.
we all are, right?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Over, under 65 years old, someone who uses the word doobie to refer to marijuana at Le Batard Show. Do you know the butcher?
Is that really that outdated? Nobody says doobie anymore?
They seem to react in a way that suggests I'm with you, Ron. I don't know the
doobie.
Yeah, look, they love to judge others, and when you have Greg Coty as your ally, that is not what you want. Do you know what the butcher bird is, though, Ron? Are you familiar? Can you tell us? Okay, I want to play a video for you here. What can you tell us about the butcher bird and what it is doing here with these lizards, where it impales them with weaponry?
That's exactly why it gets the name the butcher bird. It actually will take its prey, its lizard, and it will use a spike on a cactus or on a thorn plant, and it will impale it on there to kill it. So it doesn't struggle, and then it can go and eat it whenever it wants.
And what would you say is the most creative of these things that you have seen where an animal hides some of its food to keep it away from others?
Oh, I mean, all kinds of animals. I've watched leopards make a kill, and they would immediately rip out the intestines and the internal organs of that prey, and they bury the internal organs so they can take the rest of the prey up to the tree. But it's the internal organs that give off the most smell, and they don't want to have to draw in hyenas and other animals that will try to steal their prey, so they do that. Now, as far as tactics for eating, like you see this butcher bird doing things, there's a vulture that loves to eat ostrich eggs, but can't get into the ostrich eggs. So what it will do is it'll find a rock, it'll fly up really, really high, and it's able to literally put itself right above that ostrich egg, and it drops the rock, so the rock falls and breaks the ostrich egg. Come on, that's really cool stuff, man.
It is. When I've seen, there are an assortment of birds that do stuff like that, correct?
There's an eagle that will take a baby chamois, a chamois, which is a type of like mountain goat, and to kill it, it grabs it, flies up with this baby chamois, and drops it along the mountainside, so it careens along the rocks, and it gets crushed that way, and then it could go down there and feed on it without any resistance. Really cool stuff. I mean, hideous, but cool.
I want to make...
Shocking news out of Minnesota. A month ago, it was reported that Daniel Jones was told this job is yours. You're QB1. But now Daniel Jones is on his way to Indianapolis to challenge Anthony Richardson for his job, leaving J.J. McCarthy as the only quarterback on Minnesota's roster.
For now.
Thank you. With that breaking news, you made Greg Coty take a vigorous sip and enjoy spectating your news. Look at you. Do you have any opinions on this?
Instantly, I would say that Aaron Rodgers would be a good fit for Minnesota if they think that McCarthy needs a year of healthy seasoning.
The Brett Favre train continues.
That would be shocking to see him in a Vikings uniform.
I mean, the guy has become Brett Favre.
The same path.
Minus the picks. Minus the dick
I read the... Very true. That's a big...
He hasn't done that one yet.
I thought you meant draft picks.
No.
But like it's an eerie
what
similar
happens in the year
path.
stays in the year.
Exactly
you know what I mean?
right.
I have an announcement that has been, I want to say weeks and months in the making, but it might be more than a year in the making. So go ahead and put this graphic up for the folks who are viewing and listening live, because you can catch us on DraftKings Network Monday through Friday, 11 to 2 p.m. Eastern. You can get us more places than you ever have: Samsung TV Plus, the Roku channel, Vizio, Watch Free Plus, Max, and Peacock, and YouTube. But for also Apple, Spotify, Amazon, SiriusXM Channel 85. But for right now, if you're listening live, we're going to give you an opportunity that most of those folks do not have for an intimate event. And you're going to get, I'm going to guess, access that you're going to want here, because I think these tickets are going to sell very quickly. On April 13th, we now have tickets for sale, PoppyDominoes.com. You've got Poppy coming out of retirement, Ricky Williams coming out of retirement, and this is the biggest of the announcements. Ron McGill is going to do his Sex and the Animals presentation on April 13th. That has sold out. How many years running has that sold out for you, Ron? Because you had retired it, but you were doing it for how many years?
It was 22 years straight. It sold out.
All right, so 22 years straight. I'm promising you this is going to sell out, because it always does. And I haven't
done it for 5 years.
Look, this is a big deal here. Locally, it is great. It is, and we're trying to keep this particular event very intimate. We don't want a whole lot of people there because we want to be able to interact with you. So tickets are now on sale, PapiDomino's.com. And what can you tell the people about this, Ron? Because you're rusty. I can't believe you used to do this on Valentine's Day. I guess I was at the last one, and it was
you were at the last one,
and it was right before the pandemic, right?
That's right.
And so, what can you tell the people about what it is they'd be getting here and why it is? This is just one of the things. We're going to have a bunch of surprises. We're going to have live music. We're going to have a domino tournament. Greg Cody's going to be there, even though he doesn't know how to play dominoes. He's going to be playing with his son. He has no idea. So
I know how. I'll become a dominoes expert. But the main reason I'm going, quite frankly, is for book research for the Sex and the Animals thing.
There you go.
PapiDomino's.com. What can you tell people about what they're going to be getting? And by the way, I should mention this is a not-for-profit event. All of the proceeds are going to Ron McGill's substantive endowment. So if we're going to have at PapiDomino's.com, there's stuff that you can buy, stuff Ron has done with my brother. There's an assortment of things. All of the proceeds are going to Ron's endowment. What can you tell us about what you're going to be doing April 13th, Ron?
Well, they're going to see things on the big screen there that they have either thought about doing or have done, but they didn't want to tell anybody about it because they thought it was weird or it was kinky.
That's
but in
a
fact,
tease.
pretty natural because you're going to see how the animals do it. Listen, guys, if you're coming here to, be enlightened, well, you're going to be very humbled. It's going to be a very humbling evening for the guys. You're going to see penises bigger than you've ever seen in your life. You're going to see animals doing things that you wish you could do. Ladies, you're gonna wish you were an animal in a lot of these cases. The bottom line is it's a very graphic. I don't use any bad language, but it's very graphic photography. I mean, I put cameras where they have rarely gone before. I mean, I've been on my back underneath the rhino.
Whoa.
I've been no. The rhino wasn't on top of me. I was on my back underneath the two rhinos, so I can get the right perspective, so people can see it the right way. Okay, people want to see that kind of intimate stuff, even though you don't want to admit it. You want to see it, and after that night, you will never be able to unsee it.
So I think this is true of all our parties. There's a lot of penis there. That tends to be a recurring theme in our lives, but I'm not clear on what you're saying. This is a good date night because this sounds more like
it's a great date night. It's not a great first date night unless she's really easy. Okay, but it is a great date night.
Great night.
Okay? It's a great date. Listen, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn about the zebra, how the zebra can do things with its vulva, its vagina. It can literally it does this winking thing that's unbelievable. Listen, I've asked my wife if she could do it. Originally, she said it's impossible, but she's making progress. It's the kind of thing. It brings a whole new level, a whole new. It's just a great experience, man.
PapiDomino's.com is where you go. These are going to sell out quickly, and we're only doing a few hundred. We're only going to do like 400 maybe. And so I'm telling you right now, you're getting an opportunity now before other people get the opportunity because I don't think these last through the day. So, Ron, thank you. It's good seeing you. Always good seeing you. And we look forward to that. It's coming out of retirement for the first time in 5 years. Sex and the Animals, not sex with the animals. Thank you, Ron.
All right, that's the next show. Take care, guys.
What's going on with our corn dog eating contest? Weren't we supposed to do that today? Where are you, Greg Cody, on this corn dog eating contest? I saw that there were corn dogs out there. Is that a piece of confetti that has fallen from the peacock announcement that we made?
Right here, a piece of confetti. How many months ago was that?
There's still falling from the roof
still
here.
Still worth celebrating.
Confetti here from our peacock partnership, a partnership that will include a corn dog eating contest. How did we get to a corn dog eating contest? I don't even remember.
I think Billy watched one.
He watched one? Oh, he went to one.
That's how Domino got invited to your domino tournament.
Okay.
That's binding, by the way.
Speaking of which, that domino tournament, if you don't play dominoes, there are going to be 100, 120 people playing dominoes, but there will be hundreds of other people there. Tickets available if you want to be interacting with any of the people that are there. We're trying to make this, as I mentioned, very intimate so that you actually get interactions with us.
So what do I get when I win the domino tournament? Has that been established?
There will be prizes and there will be swag. But what's going on with our corn dog eating contest?
Well, we're trying around here to, connect the shows throughout the week. We have a show and we're like, hey, let's do. So we talked about a corn dog contest. So after that show, we're like, hey, let's do a corn dog contest the next week. And then I woke up today and I was just like, I feel like this is kind of, I don't want my dad to choke on a hot dog. Like I'm worried about people throwing up. It's just like, is it actually that funny? Are we going to be good at it? I just kind of like lost enthusiasm for the whole thing this morning.
Yeah, my problem with it was, and no offense to whoever procured the corn dogs, but I don't like a store-bought corn dog. I have to eat a corn dog on a Midway, on a Carnival Midway. Calliope music playing in the background.
So you have Carnival corn dogs not being frozen at one point?
No, they're handmade.
Yeah, they dip them into the cornmeal, and then they put them into the fryer. That's how Greg Cody likes it.
That's exactly right. I want to see it made.
I think we bought like 20 frozen corn dogs.
Yeah, see, that's not going to work for me. I need it to come out of the oil.
Hand dipped.
Yes, hand dipped. Tony knows.
So you're not going to participate? You're not going to participate?
I'm holding out for handmade, homemade corn dogs that I see dipped and extracted from the Earl. That's what I want.
So carnivals, fairs.
Yeah, a Carnival Midway with Calliope music.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Does a corn dog taste better at a carnival than anywhere else?
You know what I had at the Renaissance Festival this past weekend? A deep fried peanut butter and jelly. It was basically like funnel cake with the powder on the outside, and you bite into the center of it, some peanut butter and jelly. It was delightful.
The Dade County Youth Fair comes back on Thursday, so
we went last year, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
But this year it's a retro youth fair.
Yes, it's
yeah, where they're
back. That was my first. I went with Roy and our kids last year, and that was the most impressive fair I've ever been to. I had never been. And I've been to fairs. I had never been to the one down in Miami.
Dade County Youth Fair?
Dude, it is any fair, people in their minds right now, they've been to fairs, it's like 4 times the size of your fair.
I find that shocking to believe.
I don't know, I'm a Broward guy. I've done Broward fairs. Like I was at the Renaissance.
Fairs.
Like I was just at the Renaissance Festival. I'm pretty sure it's like 3 times the size of the Renaissance Festival. That is a big fair in Miami.
When you walk around a Ren fair, I picture you walking into just mirrors where everyone there looks like you. Everyone at a Ren fair.
No, I was actually way out of character. I wore like a white button down like I was on a cruise. Everyone there is like in full medieval times. Like I felt I was like I stuck out like a sore thumb there.
No, you're thinking of a chili cook-off.
That's where I peak right there. Yeah.
We know. Wait a minute.
Least surprising thing.
Yes, a chili cook-off.
Festival, I think you're misinterpreting. Like, I don't dress up like in that garb. Like, everyone at those things is like way in character. I'm
not talking about costumes. I'm talking about pinkish flesh.
Chili cook-off.
See, you always do this. You turn everything into Key West. Like, a Renaissance Festival is not Key West people.
It's particularly white, though.
It's like younger. Yeah, it's white, but
Dominicans love a Ren fair.
But it's also really dressed. It's like super into like whatever the theme of the weekend was. Like I think this one was it steampunk or something? Is that a thing? Steam goth?
Steampunk is a thing.
Steampunk. That was like I didn't know what it was. Everyone in my group was like, "How do you not know what steampunk is?" I was like, "I don't know," but it's apparently like top hat and like the old fashioned like.
Kind of looks like Burning Man a little bit.
Pull up some steampunk.
There you go.
Okay, but you're doing costumes at a Ren fair, and I'm just doing pinkish people with.
You've never been then, because everyone does costumes.
Why isn't a Ren Fair's theme just Ren Fair?
Well, no, it's
why do you need a sub theme?
No,
to
one
a
weekend
theme?
is Harry Potter, then it's pirates, and then the next one is steampunk. I'm telling you, this is what it's every weekend because it's like 8 weekends, and every weekend has a specific theme. And I happen to go on steampunk, where everyone's got the monocles and the top hat.
Why weren't you dressed like that?
Because I'm just there for the deep fried peanut butter and jelly.
You're saying though that you don't feel like the Ren Fair is per square foot a place that has your facial hair.
No. See, you're doing Key West again.
There's Dominicans, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, like I went with a bunch of Hispanic people.
Chris does have
how
like
many of them were
ginger
Dominican
beard though.
Yeah, he does.
You do have a Dominican beard. You do. You absolutely do. At Le
Just a nice
Batard
tape
Show,
up and you're in.
Go ahead and put it at Le Batard Show. Do Dominicans love a good Ren Fair?
Quit calling it a Ren Fair. Use its full name, please. Ridiculous.
Festival, not a fair, also.
Yeah, it's a festival.
Renfest.
Yeah, I dress like a minstrel when I go to a Ren fair?
I don't know what that means.
The time of the month?
A minstrel.
Like a minstrel show?
If you say it again, I don't know what
Is
it
that
means.
royal? Like, what does that say?
I don't think we want an elaboration, honestly.
I think
Be careful and don't get any on the chair.
What's wrong with a minstrel?
That when he said, let's move on.
Okay. All right. Innocent mistake by me, if indeed it was a mistake.
That is not much of an apology.
You'll be the judge of.
It's a medieval singer or musician.
Oh, I thought it was a period.
A medieval, hence Renaissance, a medieval singer or dancer.
Yeah, 2 Americas on that one.
I just clicked images and I don't like what I see. Sorry.
I can't believe Greg just did this.
Oh, dude, this is real bad.
Yeah,
I don't. I can't.
Okay, I'm gonna Google it.
No, yeah.
Don't
click I think you should Google
You
it.
should
You
Google
really
it to
should
see the
Google
error
it.
of your
Yeah.
ways.
Yes.
No, because this
don't
will be
click
a
images.
genuine. He'll know that he made a genuine mistake.
All right.
He's right on one
okay.
definition. The other definition, however.
Well, he said he dressed like a minstrel. Now you do a Google image search. How's that working for you?
Not real good.
Yeah,
It's education.
But again,
just
medieval
education.
musician. Let's stick to medieval
People are allowed to
musician.
make mistakes.
I don't like any of this.
Gotta want to learn. I
Exactly
do want to
right.
learn. I do want to earn. I was referring to a medieval.
Okay. All right.
Akin to a court jester.
Okay.
Is what I think about.
It was an unfortunate Google result.
All right, Greg, I want you to just simply take some inventory of Billy Gill's face and what Billy Gill likes when stuff happens on this show.
I backed him off of that. Don't faith it. I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm watching you delighting in this descent
No,
into...
I like the God want to learn.
No, you should be
He's
watching
right.
me. You should be watching me.
That is correct. That is...
Glad
that
you were
is-
judicious on the. Greg's right.
Can you please get for me a couple of top 5 lists before we get to Jason Benetti, one of the great play-by-play men of our generation, and he's going to be a guest here in a moment. But we have here a couple of different top 5 lists. We've got Mike Ryan's top 5 lists of acquisitions for his team that he hated, and we have Tony's top 5 free agent winners so far in football. Which would you like to go to first, Greg Cody, since this is your day?
I'll take the first one.
Okay. Do you remember what it is?
No.
Top 5 acquisitions for Mike Ryan's teams that he hated. Do you have any OLI, Mike Ryan?
I do. These are top 5 acquisitions that I hated upon learning, that I was never behind it, didn't like it. When they signed him, I was bummed.
I think I know who number 1 is, but go ahead. OLI.
Jimmy Butler. He's not a Jimmy Butler guy. I thought he was inefficient. Didn't like what he was doing in the locker rooms. Didn't think it would work out. And he largely proved me wrong. He went to the NBA Finals, twice as the best player on a Miami Heat team. So I got that one wrong. Number 5, Romelu Lukaku. This guy. He missed a pen in the Super Cup, and then he went gallivanting around the Premier League, and then he just held Chelsea hostage for like a huge payday. You knew his heart was never in it, came in, and immediately went on a Sky Italia interview trashing the club. Your academy club, Romelu. I hated it from the moment you came back, and you proved me right immediately.
Mike Ryan, I'm sorry. I'm going to put you on hold and do something I've never done before. I'm going to interrupt the top 5 list as it happens. Jason Benetti is there, and I am ceding the floor to Benetti. I want to be a kind host to our guests, so just hold on to it there. Benetti, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us of a time that you hated, that one of the acquisitions that your team made?
So I grew up a New Orleans Saints fan, and they traded their entire draft for Ricky Williams once. Like literally everybody. And he had no rookies to hang out with. And he was, a little bit of an eccentric guy in the first place. But they traded their entire draft for Ricky Williams. And now knowing what we know about running backs in the NFL, I maybe not worth the entire draft. And I will say I jumped in the middle of the list. Nobody ever says the word gallivanting positively. Nobody's ever been gallivanting in like a really positive light.
That's a good point.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Does anyone ever use the term gallivanting positively?
This segment is presented by LinkedIn Jobs. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DLS. Terms and conditions apply.
One of the many reasons that I love listening to you, and one of the many reasons that I love listening to you in baseball, even though you do other sports, is because you have the the space to do those kinds of absurd observations, and you seem to enjoy it a great deal more than your musty broadcasting brethren.
So musty is a very, very funny word for baseball announcers, because I do think sometimes we all can get a little musty after a 7 o'clock game goes 12 innings into a 1 o'clock start. Look, I watched a lot of SNL growing up, and I listened to a lot of like George Carlin CDs and things like that. And that sort of observational fun time is interesting to me. And also, like, let's be honest, over the course of before the pitch clock, how much of like the 3-hour baseball telecast was really like gripping, like edge of the seat, top of the first time you ever rode it, amusement park ride, roller coaster thing? Like, it's not really that. So thank you for noticing, I think, and apologies to anybody that's overly musty next to me.
Oh, but the casual way you do this, I'm going to say it's groundbreaking. I'm going to say that there is a conservative way that this is normally done, and you have brought it into the new age the way that you do it. I feel like you take pride in that.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I think part of it is just my own mind that gets kind of scattered. But I will say, like, part of where my sensibility comes from is from working a lot with Bill Walton. And I know we've talked about him before, but I loved that man. I loved him every time we sat next to each other. I loved every time he would look at me and give me a little wink knowingly about something that he just said to me, even though he was still doing the bit. I mean, I love the man, and a lot of what I do is informed by him and the grave loss from not having him on the planet anymore.
You're calling games this year with Dan Dickerson, who you also do a podcast with. Is there an adjustment there? And like, at what point do you think that there's a situation where you forget you're not doing a podcast and you're calling a game? You just kind of go into other things, let's say.
Well, so we did a spring training game on radio, and I was needling him about the challenge system, right, where you tap your head in spring training and you can challenge a ball or a strike. And he then, he got on a soapbox, and we realized that 4 pitches were gone. It's not the ideal thing on radio, certainly. And we don't do a ton of games together. I think it's actually just going to be the one in spring training. And then Andy Dirk, Stan Petrie, among others, are going to be my partner. But the reason I love baseball is because of those asides. And Dan, you're talking about like me and whatever I do, but it's a we in a lot of ways. Like Andy Dirks, who played for the Tigers when they went to the World Series a decade ago, is a really sharp guy. He's doing more games this year. We were doing a game last year, and he couldn't think of the term lookalike. And all that came to his mind was the phrase resemblance person. So we were talking about somebody looking like somebody else, and he's like, oh, that's his resemblance person. And I cannot get the phrase resemblance person out of my head. It's way better than doppelganger. It's way better than lookalike, but you're just hanging out with people and talking. And, I know you know this. Bits just kind of happen. Inside jokes just happen. And baseball is a great, trampoline for it.
I disagree with you vehemently that resemblance person is better than doppelganger. I feel like doppelganger is just a phrase that you've gotten too familiar with, but the first time a person hears doppelganger, that is a better phrase than resemblance person.
Funny word.
You do college football, you do NFL, you do basketball. Baseball's your favorite though, right?
So team baseball is just different than all the rest of them, because you get to know guys. You really, really get to know guys. You get to know their tendencies. You get to know what makes them tick. You can walk up to them and just say kind of asides and just see where it goes, because you have a sense of their sensibility. Today, I don't have the game in Lakeland. They're on the road, but I was in the clubhouse, and the Tigers have this hot prospect named Jackson Jobe, who very possibly could make their rotation this year as the 4 or 5 starter. And I just went up to him, and this was the only piece of the conversation, but it lays the foundation for the future. I go, have you ever seen Arrested Development? He goes, no, what's that? I was like, it's a sitcom, but there's a character named Job on the show who's a magician. And like, you should probably just know that it exists. And then he started telling me about a nickname that he got from some other movie and all that stuff. And that's the only sport where I could veritably say to you, like, at some point, this might get into a show. Like, this might actually be a portion of an inning at some point.
I am fascinated by the evolution of baseball and how much better these people have gotten. I feel like I can make a decent argument that Jorge Skubal is the best left-hander in the history of the world, not named Kershaw. That the person throwing pitches from the left side, that's not a hittable human being, and I've never seen a left-hander throw that way.
He is. You take that, Dan, and all that he does on the left-hand side with the changeup that's so menacing and his willingness to add and subtract and then add pitches and be really into pitch design and that sort of thing. And you combine it with this level of just like angry dominance of the other person. There was this moment in Cincinnati in July, right before the All-Star break. And I've not asked Tarek this directly, but I get the feeling that part of it was, okay, we hear a lot about the other guy. Here's what I'm going to do. Ellie De La Cruz was up, who obviously is a rocket ship and a star in the game, but Skubal struck him out. And there was just this massive scream that came out of him. And I cannot help but think there's a little like Michael Jordan Last Dance in there of like, oh yeah, like, I've heard a lot about you playing defense, Gary Payton. Like, here's the fastball. There you go. There's a changeup. See you later. It's been fun. And I really, the more I've done play-by-play, the more I really crave watching people who are just edge of the bell curve competitive, because they tend to just be the most amazing theater. And they do things just psychologically that are, psychotic in the best way.
Angry? Does he pitch angry?
Oh, he pitches furious. Like, I don't know what the world did to him on days that he pitches, but it did something to him. And like his catcher, Jake Rogers, who caught literally every inning he threw last year, will go out to the mound and he's basically like a comedian slash therapist, because he's like trying to get Skubal to smile, trying to get him stopped from like stomping around and like yelling at the umpire. But then you talk to Tarek on days off and he's just like, he's a regular, like normal human being who has like gone from 15 to 1. And I'm always endlessly fascinated at where that switch is.
Greg, I don't think you were here when Benetti delighted us by breaking out his SportsCenter voiceover guy.
No, I was not.
I'm going to introduce you now to him if he'd be willing to do it. You will recognize the pukey broadcaster from SportsCenter who does some of these ads. Forgive me for doing this to you again, but my friend has not met your ESPN voiceover guy. So, Jason, if you'd be kind enough to unveil him, I would appreciate it.
The Dan Le Batard Show, brought to you by Steak and Shake. New banana chocolate Snickers, crispity crunchity Kit Kat milkshake.
That sounded delicious. You
That's
made my
great.
mouth
Yeah,
water.
seriously. I wanna buy one.
Have you been working on any of the others since we saw you? You did you did Sean McDonough. You did Droopy Dog. Do you have any others in the arsenal that we didn't get to?
I do like really obscure announcers that like only like 5 people know. So I'm not gonna play those hits. It's like the Bill Hader impression of the guy from Dateline, right? Keith Morrison.
Yeah.
Like Bill
He
Hader's
nails
like,
it.
I know how to do this, but nobody knows who I'm talking about. So I have a couple of those. But I do Robbie Hummel, who's become omnipresent on college basketball, like very well could be the next like huge analyst in college basketball. If you watch him do a game, he learned from Matt Painter, his coach at Purdue, that like when you have a scouting report on a guy, but you don't like exactly follow the scouting report, Coach Painter would come up and say this phrase, and Robbie's kind of got like he's a little bit like, he's not brilliant at all, but he kind of sounds a little bit like it, and he'll be like, that's his deal. He goes over his left shoulder. How could you not know that? So if you watch Robbie do a game, he's gonna, as he talks about the scouting report, he'll be like, that's his deal. And Amari Barnett goes right. Like, that's his deal. That's his thing, right? So Just watch for a Robbie game, and you will hear that's his deal.
How did you perfect the McDonough? Explain to me why the love of McDonough, because obviously he's someone who's viewed as a craftsman in the industry.
He is. First of all, I sent him a CD when I was a senior in college, and I got this phone call, and it was from a number that I didn't have in my phone, and I pick it up, and he goes, "Jason, Sean McDonough, how are you?" And I was like, "Hey, Sean, you're just calling me, huh?" And he's like, "I listened to your CD. It's very good. Here are some thoughts." And so I revered Sean for the way he sounds and the way he brings humor into it and the way that he used to just like snipe at Raph and Billis. Big Monday was really important to me as a college student, but as somebody growing up in this industry. So, like McDonough just being like, Raftery has Irish arthritis. He wakes up stiff in a new joint every morning. Like that sort of thing is my kind of humor, right? And so that every Monday was really, really important to me in my career. And there have been times in games where I'll just be like, Jones baseline, and I'm like, oh no, like you cannot actually do that. It's why, like, if you do eye and eagle too much, you're like, oh, a foreign facial, right? Then suddenly it comes out in games where you're just like, oh, what a drive. Oh no, that's not even me. Like that's totally somebody else. That's not good at all. Or you become Boog, where you're just like, 3 is good. And there's like a slight dismissiveness to it, even though he's really into it. So, but that's the scary part of all of it is you just become them. So I did the Robbie impression during a game with Bill Raftery. I was like, that's his deal. And Robbie texted me, "You're dead to me." To which then one of his assistant coaches at Purdue texted, "Love the Robbie impression." So it's mixed signals really that I'm getting.
You don't do a Boog Shambi, do you?
It's just a little like low key. I don't do a full out version of it, but when I talk to him, he's like, "Hey, you want to do dinner tonight, or what are you like?" There's just like it's like a low hum, sort of. It's not perfect.
It's a refrigerator hum.
He's a low hum, but he's the most empathetic, kind low hum that you've ever gotten. Do you have any idea? Do you know Len Casper, the former Cubs TV announcer, now White Sox radio?
Yep.
I was out for a game with the White Sox, and then Len was in on TV, and there was a game winner that went over the Orioles right fielder, and he was just like, "Over the head of Santander, and the White Sox win." And anytime I see Anthony Santander, there are members of the crew who will like hit me and talk back and be like, "Over the head." And the problem with all of this is I just revere announcers. I love sounds and I love announcers. And I think people have thought I'm making fun of people, but I'm like, I love sounds. And so I hear these moments and I get excited about them.
Is Vin Scully the best, or if you have someone close to him, who is your second place?
So Vin, as a storyteller, is just number one. But then you get to like specific people with specific sports. I find Joe Buck to be truly phenomenal. His mind moves very quickly and sharply. I think Sean on college football is just unbelievably good. I thought Gary Thorne doing hockey was just unreal. Like there's a call of his that Paul Correa, when he was playing for the Ducks, he got knocked on the ground and then he gets back up and it's off the floor on the board, Paul Correa. But right before he takes the shot, he's like, the crowd wants it. Slap shot, score, right? It's like, it's bone chilling how good it is. So there are just like for specific events, like totally underrated Andrew Catalon for the NCAA tournament. He has nailed some huge moments the past bunch of years. There are just so many good people. But yeah, I just enjoy the sounds we get to make while we do games.
Hockey's the hardest, right?
Oh, yes. I did. So the NHL had a lockout like many years ago. I was in Syracuse at the time. I was doing games for like Time Warner Cable. And I did a game on a Saturday at Cornell, hockey. And I'm not a big hockey guy. So I would like kind of muddled my way through it, figured it out. The next day, Doc Emmerich did the game, the same series. It was like Colgate Cornell. Doc did it, and I was like, yeah, I'm an idiot. I have no idea how to do this. Like, you all think I'm horrible at this because Doc's the greatest, and I had to do the game the day before him.
Jason, I want to ask you some advice. So I've been doing some college baseball games this season, and it was pointed out to me about 4 games in that the players and the coaches listen back to these games because they go back to watch the film or whatever, and they're watching it with the sound on. And I'm slightly concerned at the trouble that I'm going to get myself in the future because I'm not changing my behavior in the types of things that I'm saying about certain players. So I'm wondering if you've ever found yourself in that spot where you've said something about a player and then been confronted after the fact.
Not like confronted. I mean, I said last year about a Tiger pitcher, just jokingly, like that he wasn't all that skilled in fielding a ball. And he came up to me in the clubhouse. He was like, look at this. And he showed me video of like him in high school. Right. So if you say it with the proper tone, I feel like that's problem. What's important. Well, that I don't know that I can help you with. But if you say it in a way that is like welcoming and understanding, and you can be self-deprecating too, I think, people know, like, as somebody who walks kind of funny, I'm not about to go and run the steeplechase, right? So like, that's not going to be a thing for me. So I just kind of do it in a self-deprecating way. But if you're not willing to work on your tone, then I don't know that I could be of much help.
Well, my strategy thus far has been just do it to the opponents because I'll probably never see them again. Like, when am I going to see Delaware baseball again,
Oh, that's great. No, that's definitely upstanding behavior is what I would call that.
What do you think the reaction would be if you broadcast an entire game as the ESPN voiceover guy?
He's frozen. It's not that he's thinking
Deep
a long
question.
time.
What a question by Greg Cody.
It was not
Number 4, Mike Ryan.
Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
Hated him as a basketball player, always did. The only reason why he's not number 3 on this list is because by getting Terry Rozier, we got rid of Kyle Lowry, who I hated. That's fanfare for the wheel.
Number 3.
Number 2, this is real talk. This is me being honest. Brad Marchand. I did not like that one bit. I hated it.
I can't believe that's ahead of Terry Rozier. I can't believe there are 3 ahead of Terry Rozier.
And number 1 is obvious. Yeah. Deshaun Watson. Maybe stop being a fan momentarily. Let's get Cam.
It was for several years it stopped making you a fan of the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I'm still not a fan of the Cleveland Browns. But they get Cam Ward. Daddy's back.
Tony, are you ready to do your
Dan, I was born ready.
top 5 free agent winners? Any OLI?
We've got 2 OLIs. Number 1, the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, you're just doing teams.
Yeah, just doing teams. Winners of free agency. The Colts won OLI rating.
By the way, one of the better nicknames already in the sport for their quarterback, Indiana Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Playing where? Not bad. Indiana. Indiana was a dog's name, by the way, Chris. Second OLI, the Broncos. Like what they're doing defensively, getting a really good defense setting up for the boy, Bo Nix, who's turned the corner, by the way.
He's made a leap or turned the corner?
He turned the corner during the season, but now he's getting ready to.
I thought he made a leap.
No, he
turned the corner. Can you make a leap in year 1? I don't even know where I'm leaping to.
Exactly. Yeah. Number 5, the Jets. Addition by subtraction. I'm very intrigued at what they could do with Justin Fields.
Really? Number 4.
Number 4, Minnesota. Shoring up the offensive line, shoring up the defensive line, re-signed Byron Murphy. Like, there's a lot of things that they're doing there.
That's not great analysis. There's a lot of things that they're doing there. Just that sentence.
I'm saying defensively, they're getting a lot of guys. Yeah. Offensively, they're getting a lot of guys because they got it. Offensive line-wise, they got to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback now.
Greg Cody thinks the Dolphins need everything. They need help at everything.
They do, yeah. Especially now that they've lost Javon Holland.
But they got Zach Wilson, so.
That is true.
And a guard.
Number 3, Chicago. completely shoring up the offensive line. Got 3 good players. Got a couple good defensive linemen too. So again, Dan, what's it about? It's about the trenches, right? Can you protect the quarterback? Can you get after
Not
theirs?
sexy, not sexy. A lot
That
of
doesn't
linemen
matter.
moving. Number 2,
the New England Patriots. Talking about shoring up a defense, Braves came in, said, let me get a D tackle, let me get a linebacker, let me get a safety, let me get another corner. Very good. Hopefully they draft Travis Hunter, give Drake May a little bit of weapon there. But New England Patriots, number 2. Number 1, the Commies. I love what they did with Laramie Tunsil. I love the Deebo Samuel thing. He's going to play inspired ball. I think they got a nice little linebacker too. Javon Kinlaw, I think, was over with the Commies too. The Commanders, making it happen.
Number 1, Benetti has returned from his frozen exile. I want to play for him some sound of Boog Shambi doing robot baseball for us. I don't know, this was many years ago, if any of it holds up, but I want to see if I can recruit him to do a new version of robot baseball for us.
And we welcome you back to the Death Star here at Microsoft's Wrigley Field. Boog Shambi back for another great season of baseball. Obviously, the big question as we enter this year is, can anyone break Frankenberry's record of 326 home runs last season? As always, I welcome back my partner in the booth, R2-D2. Darth Vader doesn't like the call, and he's coming out of the dugout. He's going to go over there and argue with Cowboy Joe West. R2, I'll tell you what, it's a scary sight anytime you see Darth Vader with the lightsaber out. And here he goes, approaching Joe West. Oh, and Darth Vader has sliced first base umpire Joe West in half.
Oh, Jesus, that's unfortunate. That's that escalated quickly.
Oh, no.
Would you be willing in any way to do an advancement to that particular idea that seemed like a good one many years ago?
5 trillion%.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Please, can Boog and I do it together would be my question. When we did KBO Korean baseball together, we had the time of our lives. Can we do it together?
That was not something that Boog described as the time of his life in a closet somewhere doing Korean baseball.
With us together as announcers, 2 play-by-play announcers. It's our dream. We cut out the analysts.
He's a preparation freak, and they would tell him before the game, "Hey, we're switching games to another team that you don't know anything about, and here you go. Try and talk about their shortstop as if you know what you're talking about."
Correct. Absolutely. It was like, yeah, you got the LG Twins and you got the Hanwha Eagles. Nope, they got rained out. You're doing Doosan and NC. Congratulations. Hope you enjoy it.
You did not experience that the way that Boog did. Boog did not like not having proper preparation for those games at 5 o'clock in the morning.
But what am I supposed to do? I'm way closer to my microwave than I am the game. So how am I supposed to do it with perfection? Like the whole idea is to just roll it out, see what happens. I don't suggest that you should do that for the Final Four or something like that. But I mean, it was basically just improv, right? I've never actually done improv, but KBO games were as close to doing improv as you could possibly get. I mean, when you have on July 4th a competitive eater on as an interview guest live from Lowe's where he's buying paint because he's redoing his house, that's pretty much where you've broken one of the walls down, and he can fix it for you, actually.
Boog Shambi was very popular in Korea. They made songs about him there.
ESPN Boog Shambi, wow! ESPN Boog Shambi, let's go, wow! Together, wow! ESPN Boog Shambi, ESPN Boog Shambi.
They didn't sing about you, Benetti.
No, it's not as catchy.
It's got too many syllables.
Wow.
Are you in agreement that the Dodgers have kind of ruined everything for everybody?
Nah. I think everybody else needs to follow the lead of the Dodgers and go after free agents and things like that. I mean, that's where I am on this. Everybody has the opportunity to do that. Everybody has the opportunity to do what the Dodgers want to do. And frankly, I don't think having to take robot baseball's terminology, a Death Star is bad for anybody. I think if every other fan base says, as long as it's not the Dodgers, which I feel like some people are saying, I have nothing against the Dodgers, but some people are saying that, I do tend to feel like that's good for the sport, because you can just say hey, we have a villain now.
I've never heard a Death Star described that benignly. It's usually something that is viewed as something to be feared. Benetti is here to sell you
I
on
was
the...
gallivanting. I was gallivanting positively through the thought.
Jason, nice seeing you. Always good talking to you. Thank you, sir.
Sorry about the internet in Lakeland, Florida. My sincere apologies.
It's all right. We managed it. Going to welcome in Juju Gotti here in just a second, but Amin Al-Hassan has now written in again, and he says that limited fake Ray Romano was fantastic, and you dismissed the entire series of calls. Shame on you again. Amin says, shame on me again. Greg Cody just said of Benetti, of Jason Benetti, he just said, man, that was delightful. I could feel my face grinning the entire time that he was on.
It's true, and I wasn't in here for his previous appearance, and frankly, I don't know much about him at all, so I was catching all this really off the cuff, and I just found him delightful, funny, great impressions. I love a broadcaster who imitates other broadcasters. I just think it's terrific. That guy could do a stand-up routine, and I would pay to go see
I
him.
wish we would have had you do your generic impression. I'm thinking of it now after because you always do this thing. Anytime you hear any baseball broadcaster, you do the same voice as if they all sound the same.
Doesn't he just do Eric Reed? Isn't it just the pukey broadcaster?
Kind of.
It's always Eric Reed in some form.
It's a knee-high fastball. The count is 4-1.
I guess it is Eric Reed.
4-1.
4-1.
Yeah, whatever.
You walked him.
Yeah, it's a ball. Ball four.
He put his own spin on
Count
it.
is 4-1.
We got there. Gallivanting to first base.
Juju, thank you for joining us. What did we get wrong today, Juju? What did I do? What did we do that was objectionable? You've been way too positive, Juju. I know that people weren't as positive about yesterday's show as you said they were.
Look, glad to be here. And what a segue, because yes, I have been positive, but not today, Jack. Today was the most reckless speculation in the history of recklessness. You guys trafficked in propaganda to lead the show off, too. This platform is way too big to be going off and speculating off the word of chill, son. I mean, I think it was giving weirdo, it was giving tinfoil hat, and I don't think the juice was worth the 23-minute squeeze. Like, what are we doing?
Absolutely. Minor penalty, 2 minutes, spreading propaganda.
Hands out of here.
Totally unfair. Where is the mystery box when you need it? Sheesh.
That is maybe on me.
Game.
That's on me, actually. I let it go on too long. I should have cut him off. It felt reckless the whole time.
It did. I mean, how can you? LeBron's never been found guilty of anything that we implied might be possible.
You know who was happy about that segment? Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, there are freaks of nature, right, in sports. Like there was a time when Babe Ruth was hitting 35 home runs a year, and the second most home runs in the game was 6. You know, was
that true?
Yeah, was he doing like steroids of the day? I mean, retroactively, we're going to accuse Babe Ruth of being on drugs? I just don't get it. I felt bad for LeBron.
He just wasn't playing against minorities.
He was Dominican.
That's right.
There
I
you
forgot
go.
about that.
That's right.
So next, I want to put some positive spin on it right now. Angel Resto, he has done it again. He has the Hookah Doncic shirts available right now on LeBatardAF.com. What a talent. What a mensch. Please go get you one of them t-shirts, wear it outside, and I bet you people going to pull up on you and be like, where did you get that? And you should tell them, Angel Resto, go get one of these shirts from LeBatardAF.com. You dig it. Also, today during the show, we did a little segment on the reality shows of all time, which made me want to do a top 5 reality shows of all times list, if I can, really quickly.
Let's do it.
Number 5, Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Strong.
Sure. You dig it. A lot of stars have been born from that show. Number 4, 60 Days In. Cinnamon, if you believe it. Number 3, Flavor of Love.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, no.
Come on, man.
New York.
New York, come on, man. A lot of legends have been born. Hoops went on to marry Shaq. Can you dig that? Number 2, Jersey Shore. Got to know. I love Jersey Shore. Salute to Snooki, man. Salute to the situation and all the guys, man.
Love Vinny.
Great show. Exactly. Salute to Vinny. And number one, Real World / Real World, the challenge. Come on, man. Don't get no better than that. You got to dig it. And also, okay, moving on, since Dan's not here, got to keep this thing moving. I like Mike's list of people who he didn't like people who was traded to his team, and Tony's also list of people like who went in the offseason. I want to send a message to the Buffalo Bills. You guys, I mean, you know the problem with you guys sometimes? You guys think that you can just mosey into the draft and become geniuses. Last year, I got scorned for being so upset when they traded Xavier Worthy to the Kansas City Chiefs. Fast forward umpteen months later, touchdown Xavier Worthy in the AFC Championship. Come on, guys. We don't need Josh Palmer. We don't need a new snack machine. We need DBs. We need defensive backs. God bless the comeback player of the year, snub, DeMar Hamlin. But please get that brother some help, please.
Juju, going to the other half of your split jersey, your Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, by the way, lost Josh Sweat, lost Milton Williams, lost Isaiah Rodgers, cutting Darius Slay, expected. James Bradbury the same way. C.J. Gardner-Johnson traded to Houston. The entire defense all of a sudden vaporized.
Vaporized, man. I don't know, man. Look, the Eagles won a Super Bowl, so it's like I'll let them have it for now. Y'all got it. I mean, see, I don't understand any of these moves. I would have worked to secure every single person that helped put a ring on that finger. If you got it, then you should have put a ring on it, and they did. So maybe they got something cooking. I don't know. That defensive line is still pretty much intact.
Did
so
re-sign Zach Bond, too.
Yeah, salute to Zach Bond. You got to dig it. But, hey, man, above my pay grade when it comes to the Super Bowl champions.
Juju, what polls did we have today?
The polls, oh, yeah, for sure. And salute also to Mike Ryan for reminding me to highlight. The polls are now also in IG as well, in the IG stories. If you're tired of going to Twitter, getting cussed out, getting called racist names, just trying to vote on these polls, come over to Death Row. Come over to IG, and where the polls are more fun. I get to put a little bit more creativity into the polls, a little cleverness. Also, you can catch when exactly we're live. Today, I put a sexy picture up of Mike Ryan in a tank top. Go ahead to Instagram right now and get on these polls.
And live polls on the YouTube stream as well.
You dig it? And also, speaking of the YouTube, Tubby from YouTube says, thank you so much for the rejoins during the YouTube commercial breaks. And I second that emotion. Because salute to JT Daly. I love you. You are a mensch. But if I hear it's time to play football one more damn time, like, you feel me? So whoever made that change, you, sir, deserve a Wonka bar and the golden ticket.
Shout out Jason, the director.
You dig it? Yellow Jackets. Those girls be tripping. 93% of the audience says, yes, those girls do be tripping. Should anyone who consumes Peeps be jailed?
Yes, 89%.
76% of the audience says, yes, they should be, and throw away the key. Salute to Jessica Smetana.
Dad, have you had a Peep?
I have not.
You've never had a Peep?
Is that the yellow bird?
It's like the little foam looking.
Yeah,
it's absolutely the yellow bird.
They look awful. They look just terrible.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I've never had one.
Someone who uses the word doobie to describe marijuana. Over 65 years old or under 65-year-old. 92% of the audience says over 65 years old. Dang. Salute to the Roncula. Does a corn dog taste better at a carnival than anywhere else? 89% of the audience says, yes, it does.
Greg, when it's hand dipped like that, you put a little ketchup, a little mustard on top.
Oh, yeah. Oh, baby. Oh, especially mustard.
Does anyone ever use the term gallivanting positively? 76% of the audience says no, and those are your polls. Sponsors, wherever you are, come here, come far. Remember, these polls are pretty much sponsored by Juju and the Hood right now. So, you know, I know the haters. Right, and the haters. I know this is a bit look at me, Louie, but hey, you know what they say? Being too humble sometimes will get you overlooked and underbooked.
You
so
got that right.
sponsors, holler at us.
Good. See you, Juju.
Salute.
See you.